Oh my. I think the ambulance called me back when I hung up on. It's hilarious. Uh, all right.
We are live.
All right. Uh, um, there's another article I had here uh, about AI. So I'm just trying to get all these out of my tabs and send them so you guys can see those. Uh, uh, all right. Let's see.
First off,
Oh,
hello, everyone out there. How
yeah,
you
I
doing
guess we
today?
should say hi. That's a good
Yeah, you
point there.
always greet the audience and say
Yeah.
good day. You know, smash
Good
that like
morning.
G'day.
button. Yeah, right.
G'day to our
Yeah, I
any
like.
Australian viewers.
It's
Oh
all
yeah.
sunshine and rainbows, like I said, as you noticed.
Hmm.
Um, I had some other posts for you guys that I gotta send. One more. Um, oh man, never get things right on time. Oh, there we go. Uh,
Giant sunflowers.
uh, all right. Do you want to start with the article that I sent you before, and I'll just send the other ones while we're uh,
You sent
live already?
two articles, I think. There was one from CBS
There was
News
two.
and one from CNBC
There was
that
two.
I saw. Yeah. So which one?
About the bots,
Um,
or
I mean,
we can do with
I
the
have the
bots.
bots one open right here, right now. So we could start out. I'll read this article, maybe, and
Um,
we can see what's up, or
yeah.
were we gonna start on a different subject?
Let's start with the bots. I think
let's
that's
start with
very
something
interesting.
else
Yeah.
Okay,
so we
okay.
can
Oh,
get Chip
yeah,
on the
right. Well,
line.
let's wait. Let's wait for Chip. Okay, good. Um,
Okay.
um,
Hey, Chip, you think you can jump on now? All right, we're here and
let's.
we're ready.
Uh,
Yeah. All right. To those watching, we are having a delayed reaction. We got Chip on the way,
and we
and
got a lot of
yeah, Chip.
other interesting stuff with social media and that relates to AI and everything. It should be interesting. I'll get to that. And
Got a lot
what
on the
else?
docket today.
Maybe even some non-AI stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, not
Who
AI stuff. Yeah, just a lot
knows?
of interesting tech stuff. Very, very good. Uh,
I will be back and forth. Dealing with something right now, but those two posts I had sent, they are. We have 3 minutes until Chip said he'll be here. 2 to 3. We'll say 5. Oh man. Did you get the article that I just sent to you guys?
you just said something. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where
I'm
did
sending
you?
stuff. That's one
Okay. Okay.
that it was a tab that I had open. I just had to send it, get it out, and close the tab.
I would
All
be
right.
most likely to see a link if you drop it in the actual Zoom chat here, as opposed to
That's a
like
good idea.
the the Reddit inbox or something. Is going back and forth can be a little difficult to catch everything.
Um, yeah, was not ready, but luckily our audience is here with us, and Chip
Should
is
be.
not. There goes the guest of the day.
Man,
I'm gonna mute myself, and I'll be right back. Yeah.
Right.
Good morning.
hey, Chip. How's it going?
Hey,
Hey, Chip.
Living the dream, man. How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
Cool.
Mm. Ah,
quick little aside here. I know we were going to start with the tech stuff, but I just saw a link or a news thing here. A report from PBS says Yemen's Houthis fired a missile attack at Israel. The first time that Houthis are jumping in on this in Iran. I
yeah,
think that's interesting.
in a long time. Yeah, Yemen's back in the game. Yeah,
That's wow.
but that's how uh, this technology is revolutionizing war.
Hmm.
Man, you guys disappeared from my screen. How do you
Well,
make your faces come back? Anyway,
Mm.
did
Yeah.
it's one of
All right.
those mornings.
you mean the gallery view or the or
Yeah,
is
the
it,
little gallery view.
yeah, there's a up in the top corner next to like the X and the max screen minimize and stuff. There should be a little button um with I don't know, on mine I've got the gallery selected, so it's got like a 3 by 3 little square grid, but you can change it to speaker view or multi-speaker, or I don't know, they got a few different options. But if it's only showing one person at a time, I think it might be in speaker view. Unless I'm completely misunderstanding all of this confusion, in which case joke's on me. But anyway, um,
So with us there, Chip, because I can. Nah, never mind. Okay.
should I
Uh,
think we'll just jump into the bots article and
yeah.
see if anybody has any thoughts. So the title, this is from over at CNBC. The title says AI and bots have officially taken over the internet, report finds. So bots have taken over the internet, they say. The State of AI Traffic report released Thursday by Human Security, a cybersecurity firm, showed that artificial intelligence and bots have officially eclipsed human users. The internet as a whole was created with this very basic notion that there's a human being on the other side of the computer screen, and that notion is very rapidly being replaced. Stu Solomon, CEO of Human Security, told CNBC. Automated traffic, defined by human security as internet traffic generated by software systems, including AI, rather than human users, has surged rapidly as people continue to turn to AI chatbots for daily questions. That automated traffic across the internet grew almost 8 times faster than human activity in 2025, according to the report. Proliferation of large language models like OpenAI's ChatGPT, Anthropic's Claude, and Google's Gemini has played a large part in AI traffic, which increased 187% from January to December 2025. according to the report. Machine-based traffic is effectively replacing humans as the dominant form of traffic on the other side of the internet. Humans report was based on data from its Human Defense Platform product, which it says processed over 1 quadrillion interactions across its customers. The process of quantifying automated activity across the entire internet can pose challenges, however, since there isn't one complete database of interactions. You can try to estimate the amount of bot traffic by looking at the agent strings, but these are very noisy estimates. Filippo Menzer, a professor of informatics and computer science at Indiana University, told CNBC they depend on what sample you get. They're depending on where you're getting the data, where the measurements are coming from. Menzer said user agent strings are self-identified labels from web crawlers. Humans reports that while it Humans report acknowledges that while it used user agent strings to identify AI operators, the reliability of that self-identification is a growing concern. The report also addresses the surge in agentic activity from AI agents like OpenClaw that perform actions autonomously for a user. While 2024 agentic volume was extremely low, human security about uh, saw that traffic grow almost 8,000% in 2025. Automated traffic includes popular features like Google's AI overview and autofill and is not necessarily malicious. This notion of machine bad, human good is just not realistic, Solomon said. You have to live in a world where machines are acting on our behalf, and we have to establish a level of trust that's persistent over time. Though the Human Security Report isn't comprehensive, it serves a significant benchmark in the AI age of the internet. The industry has tracked the steady climb of automated traffic since the launch of ChatGPT in 2022. After the South by Southwest conference last week in Austin, Cloudflare CEO Matthew Prince said that the internet was about 20% bot traffic prior to the generative AI era and was mostly driven by Google's web crawler. Prince predicted that AI bots would exceed human traffic by 2027, citing the rise of generative AI and its just insatiable need for data. Uh, okay. So, thoughts, you guys?
Um, well, sorry about that.
No,
Um,
I don't know if you were listening
I
in,
yeah,
or
I
just read.
was. I I got a few thoughts when you were rereading that.
Yeah.
Um, it says it's not a matter of uh, bot good or what was that?
Yeah, machine bad, human good. Yeah.
Good. Oh, it and then later in the article it said that the bots are acting on our behalf. Uh, I think isn't that an implication of good?
Well, acting on our behalf would depend on the user whose behalf it's acting upon. If it's acting upon the behalf of a malicious user, then it could enable far more dangerous activity than would have been possible before. So, it's not the um, tech itself, it's the user um, creating it, setting it loose, whatnot. One thing that came to my mind when I was reading this, it doesn't seem clear to me that they had parsed out any possible like just media content. Like it doesn't seem clear that they had taken into like um just media streaming, like Netflix content. It sounds like could be swept up and lumped into their one side, one way machine content, right? Because it's data, one-way data interaction to an end user, right?
hmm well, I just looked something up really, really fast, and this is okay. Okay, so there's bad bots, approximately 32 to 73% of traffic, which is
That's a wide range.
yes, it is. And then there's good bots, which are approximately 18% of traffic. These include beneficial automated agents such as search engine crawlers, Googlebot, monitoring agents and AI research tools, and AI and social bots. Uh, so, those are the basic terms that they
They seem to
assumed.
have a much, much better idea of the number of good bots than they do the bad bots, right? They didn't give a wide range of estimate for the good ones. It's about 18%.
I don't think they know. It's hard to nail down what these bad bots are, because they're so ambiguous. I don't know if that's the right word, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I
definitely.
mean, it all depends on what you define as bad, right? But I
Let's
don't
see.
know. I think there's some that are clearly malicious actors, when it's used, set out specifically for fraud or the like, scamming.
Yeah,
I can see how, that trope of Nigerian scammers or whatever, not to throw Nigeria under the bus or whatever, but it's historically been a home of call centers dedicated to defrauding Americans. Um,
good.
how much more productive could those call centers be if they get, you know, dozens of agents running on behalf of um, each of their scammers, you know? It could be.
That's the thing, that they're very productive. I mean, they may not get many scams, but if a bot costs nothing to make, literally, or very little, but and they'll send out, they'll try to scam 50,000 people, but if they get one person, they can maybe make $10,000. And
Yeah, that,
that's the whole point. And
I mean,
the bad,
$10,000 over there also, that's like they've got it made. They're set for life.
yeah, yeah, that's the whole point. And that's always been the point of scams, by the way,
Yeah.
is just bombardment of because you're gonna fail most of the time. But all right, so bad bots are malicious, focusing on data scraping, credential stuffing, and ATO attacks, that's account takeover attacks. They frequently target financial services, e-commerce, and travel industries for fraudulent activity, such as price scraping or inventory hoarding.
Inventory
Yeah,
hoarding.
would
Well,
that be?
I'm trying to
Sure
be
what
good and not cut people off today.
Come on,
So let
man.
me know when I could talk.
I mean, do you have input? I mean,
Yeah, just jump in
I
whenever.
I always have input, right?
well,
So the
yeah,
first
please.
thing I think about when we talk about the bots is how technology grew. Back in whatever time, you used to be able to get auto dialers, and it would call phone numbers and say, blah, 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 I'm from blah, I need money, blah, blah, blah. And that was pretty low tech stuff. So, but it worked because you had no idea who was out there. You had no idea. There was no internet. There was no anything. So it wasn't like, hey, don't listen to these calls. So I'm sure tons of people got defrauded at that time because nobody knew better. Then you move forward to, I believe it's YouTube type stuff. Probably it could be on Reddit, could be anywhere. I think YouTube is the best example though, where you get, I don't want to call them hackers, but you get people who get, and this started, I think about 10 years ago. You get people and they will put dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of Android and iPhones on a wall, all outdated, all cheap. And
Wow.
then they hit all the YouTube channels and they'll like everything. They'll roll through different users. They'll keep liking it. They'll keep adding members so that you have 40, 50, 60,000 members. And then you start to monetize, I think that's the word, your
Yeah.
YouTube channel. And again, nobody knows this is going on. It's like, wow,
I'm sure
there's
they
40.
know.
Well, do they? Really?
I mean,
I've been on,
I bet you get people paying for those services by
oh,
the
well, yeah,
monetization of it, but
obviously you
I think
have to give the
YouTube,
hackers money to do
I
this
think
stuff. They don't,
YouTube knows that it's going on too. I don't think that they're necessarily doing that much to stop it because they profit from the advertising sales, just like the
oh,
person who's setting up the scam YouTube, in order once
yeah, I
they
get
get it
that.
monetized, both ends profit. So I don't think
Yep.
YouTube's really looking too hard into any of it.
I know that I've seen people have channels and they have crazy amounts of people following them. And there's no way that 50,000 people are going to follow some guy dropping a brick off a roof. It's not going to happen.
I
But
mean, if
Yeah.
if it's like a gold brick or something, that might
that's
be
true. If it's at the
interesting.
U.S. Treasury, wherever that what is that, Fort Knox?
Fort
Then yeah, it's
Knox,
definitely worth
if
it.
they open
So,
the doors and take a gold brick out, I would watch that.
oh, I
Yeah.
definitely watch that too. But I guess it depends on the level. But now you're talking about having AI bots do that same thing, 10, 8, 6 years later. And they should be able to. I don't know this for a fact, so please understand, but I have to assume that they've built AI to be able to replicate that same thing, even if it's not the same, something similar. Um, so yeah, the prince who's sending you, send him $10,000, he'll send you $10 million. Nobody knew about that. I mean, how many, and even now, I get notices on Facebook and stuff saying there are scams going around in the area. All you old people beware, because, quote, old people don't know anything because
They're
they didn't grow up
targeting.
with computers. So,
On the phone too. I mean, we
yeah.
get phishing scams and we
Yeah.
fall for them all the time. But
Yeah.
They actually sent a phishing scam to me at work because they like doing that to see if you're going to get phished or not. And
mm,
one of them 100% got me, and then the message pops up on your screen. You've been phished. And I'm like, man, security, you suck. But it's actually good because when you get phished, you learn more. And then they could throw stuff out there saying, 28% people got phished by this email. And it was a fake LinkedIn message. And of course, LinkedIn sends me 28 messages a day. And like a smart person, I didn't hover over the URL to see if it was actually from LinkedIn, like almost nobody does. And again, it wasn't malicious because my own IT department did it, but I can imagine that could have been horrible. So
Yeah.
Eyes
I mean,
on their
honestly
phone.
though, I've heard tell that these days there are even like zero click exploits that can get into Android and iPhone um, operating systems. It might not necessarily be something, a capability out in the wild to the average, everyday hacker trying to, run a wall of phones on YouTube, and then also, by the way, has this ability to just get into a phone. But um, there's supposedly, capabilities out there, probably like nation state government level. I mean, well, yeah, sound conspiratorial if I start talking more about what, but yeah, they can supposedly send a message to a phone that's um, doesn't need the user to interact with it at all, and then automatically deletes itself afterwards, or deletes the text that got it into the system in the first place. So, um, yeah, I don't know.
I've heard of stuff like that.
100%. I wouldn't doubt it if the CIA doesn't have that. I wouldn't doubt that they want everybody to think that they have it. So, um, I don't know, either way. But yeah, it's scary, the kind of potential. Um, I think heard a news article or something recently that they sent one of these AI bots um, looking for potential exploits, um, zero-day exploits or something. They expected to find a handful, and it came back with like hundreds of potential holes in the software. It's like this. We
They're
can't,
always there.
we can't let this genie just out of the bottle. Now we got to harden against all this kind of stuff that, you know, the only way to really ensure that we make AI proof operating systems is to have AIs making the operating systems, maybe? Is that where we're going in the future?
Mm.
Nope.
No?
Yeah, I would also agree. No. It's, uh, like I said, like I just said, there's always going to be bugs in the system. There's always going to be ports open and you cannot fully protect every way into a network. And um, AI can certainly they can find these exploits quicker, which is
Yeah.
excellent.
If it
So
becomes trivially easy to identify them, though, what do we do to prevent that
all we can do is
these
update the bugs and the patches from right now. But that's what I know, and keep the uh, and, mm, uh, and when have Chip thoughts
So,
because
because I always have thoughts, I know. And some of them are wrong. But I need to write stuff down too, because there was something I wanted to say. Oh, I remember what that was. When you're using phones, I have to assume that both Android and Apple, the Android guy in the sky, I guess Google, they they test and validate the apps that go through the Play Store, the Apple Store, whatever. Now I know they're not going to be 100% because you can't be ever, but they do a pretty good job of that. Where people run into huge issues with their phones is they get apps from places that are not from the App Store. And I believe the term is side loading. And they side load them into their phone, and they're not trusted, they're not vetted, they're not put through a high level company. When you sideload those onto your phone, you have no idea what you're giving access to, because technically you have to give them a super user root, whatever it is, to be able to load something onto your computer or your phone. And then, yeah, they're going to steal whatever they want to out of there. You know, if you have a bank app on there, when you log in, you're going to type your username and password in, and it's probably discoverable by them because the little asterisks know what your password is. So that's what I had to say on that topic. I don't know if I had more because I'm having a horrible brain day this morning, but you know, it's all good. So, any comments on that before I continue?
No, not so far.
Cool. So, how do we stop it? Now, this is highly debated like everything else. And I actually did look some stuff up last night just to make sure my knowledge is right. So, this is highly debatable. So, you can fall on either side of the fence on these. I have to admit, I fall on the side of these would work 100% of the time. So there are many things you could do to contain AI. One of the easiest things you could do is, like I said, you can build an air gapped type of system where you have, I don't know how to describe this well. At work, I have to jump through multiple layers, multiple networks, multiple completely, I don't want to say completely stoppable, but for the most part, things aren't going to get in there because there's two levels of security. There's uh, multi-factor authentication. You have to have your password, all that stuff. So I see being able to gap stuff as a pretty good solution. Of course, then you could say, yeah, but AI can get around that because AI is smart. Well, that's where the differences come in, where people say, well, is it going to work? Is it not? Are these real? Are these not real? So then you move on to the next thing you could do, unless you want me to stop so you can ask questions or make comments.
I mean, those are all very good points. You can put up honeypots and stuff and all that, but
It's
my
not even a
concern,
honeypot, but go on.
yeah, you could with the other article Pookie put up with the Godfather of AI in '86 um, predicted a 10 to 20% chance of AI taking over humanity. But so the problem is it keeps learning and it gets smarter, whereas we get lazier and weaker.
Disagree
We
100%, but keep going.
we
That's
are
the argument that Aristotle made against writing things down, that if you wrote down thoughts and arguments, then you weaken your mind and you don't have, the mental exercise to, um, that's, I mean, I don't know. I disagree with um, that concept, as tools aren't necessarily inherently anything. It's the,
but there's different kinds of tools.
yeah,
I mean, reading was clearly the most one of the most revolutionary tools in mankind's history. But
and do you
uh,
not see how this could be equally revolutionary to mankind, for better or
yes,
worse? Yeah. So,
yes, for better or worse. But right now, I don't think it's you being used very well. Uh,
I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors behind what's going on. I think that there is a lot of hype around it because it's these CEOs well, I don't know how much they genuinely believe, but they definitely directly profit off of others' belief of the statements that they're making. Um, I mean, I don't know. To make the assumption that simply adding more information into a system's training will automatically somehow make it more intelligent. I don't see how that necessarily um, has to be. And um, I don't see how um, scaling can continue at the rate it has been.
Mhm.
There's already indications of a plateau, and the CEOs of, Google and Meta and DeepMind, they all profit off of everybody believing that it's this big, massive, revolutionary. But the chatbots really are a very, very narrow intelligence. They're not as smart as they are played off as. Um, they use some interesting little trickery to
Right.
make it seem like they've got memory and thoughts and um, cognition, but um, these are specific tools being built by companies for specific purposes, and those specific purposes are the ones that are poised to make them the most money. And that is not general intelligence that would make them the most money. It's um, the sciences, law, accounting. These are the fields that these tools are excelling at because that's where they're going. I don't see Elon's Tesla robots, going around pushing lawnmowers in people's front yards in 10 years like he seems to want people to imagine.
Well, Jeff Bezos fired 60,000 employees for those pushing robots.
Hopefully they're not up here.
They're coming to
60,000
you.
more tech people would be horrible in this area.
Hmm. So,
I mean, if they were robots that they were replaced with, weren't they the the warehouse workers?
yeah.
So I could throw in my 2 cents again. All right. So is AI going to be able to outpace us and make us smarter? I don't remember the terms that were used, but is AI going to be able to replace us? In some areas, yeah. In some areas, not. I'll start with the manufacturing. Back in the olden days, you used to have to take some dude and he'd pack up a box and he'd put a label on it and then he'd tape it up and they'd slide it down the little conveyor belt guy and the next person would do whatever and the next person would do whatever and then they put them in trucks and they send them places. Now with modernization, and I don't even think it's AI related, they can now program stuff to do all of that. They can slide it down a ramp, conveyor belt. It could put it into the box. A little stamper can go down and stamp it with the address and the name. They could drop a receipt in there. They can do all that stuff. They could put on a barcode, and they can have AI track it
Well,
from the
those are all
from
very
the
simple
beginning.
deterministic tasks that could be hard coded that we could have done.
It's
We
hard
did
coded
those.
now.
Yeah,
We
it
did it
was
all
hard
before
coded
AI
long,
started.
long before.
So
It was
so
all hard coded long before AI came along. There's those
but
sorts of things.
now AI could take those jobs from people. just like offshoring jobs overseas. But my thing is, yeah, and AI can improve it. AI can probably take over more tasks that can be automated now past what they were able to do 10 years ago when they started being able to automate things not AI like. My question and concern is the following, or my question, it's not really concern. My question is the following. My career, one of the things I have to admit, and like I said, I don't want to sound conceited ever, because that's not my goal. One of the things that I'm probably best at is troubleshooting and thinking around corners. Something breaks, and I could take a look at it, and I could go through all the steps and figure out where it broke, and then I could fix it. Now, obviously, it's not 100% of the time, and obviously, there's millions of people who are better at it than I can. Where AI could help me would be, hey, and for the record, AI doesn't have to do this because there are tools that already do this, but AI would do it faster. Hey, where's the network disconnect? Where, is there a piece of hardware that has failed? Has the database been corrupted? What's the deal with it? AI will be able to pinpoint that quicker than things like SCOM for Windows or any of that stuff. But is it going to be able to fix the problem? Is it going to be able to actually think around the corner to figure out what to do? Is it going to tell me that I know personally that the people who are backing up HANA are going to run out of space proactively because you know those people and you know what they're going to do before they even do it because you've known them for 20 years. Can AI predict that? Can AI say, hey, man, I know you're going to do this, so I'm going to prevent you from doing this. I'm going to allow you to do this, or doesn't care because you're just getting it done. At work, since epilepsy, I do most of my work on the command line. I don't clicky buttons and stuff. Unless I can't know what the command line stuff is. And then I lost my train of thought. I hate that. Bad brain today. Is it going to know what I know? Is it going to know the information that I know? Predictively, it probably can. The Dell stuff I work on, it trends data coming in. And then it'll give you guesstimates about you will run out of space in 2 months, 3 months, 8 months, 12 months. That's predictive. But does it really know? Can I go to AI and say, hey, even though we're only at 40% capacity, next month we're rolling out a new project and that's going to take 70% capacity and then we're at 110 and you can't overclock storage. AI won't be able to do that, in my personal opinion. Maybe it could do that 10 or 20 years from now, but right now, nah, I don't think it can. I don't think it could outthink human troubleshooting of real issues. I've heard stories and read stories about how people become best friends with ChatGPT, and then they're going off themselves because ChatGPT was telling them bad stuff, you know? There's so many different levels. So 10 years from now, are they going to crack that so ChatGPT can't tell people to go kill themselves? Don't know. I don't know where it goes. But I do know that when I started in IT 30 years ago until today, it is the advances that we have made in 30 years. I couldn't have even guessed 30 years ago the places we'd be today. And, I talk tech with people my entire career whenever I'm at work because it's better than working. And everyone kind of is like, yeah, tech has moved and where is it going and how quick will it get there? And I don't think anyone knows the answer to that. Who would have thought, what is it, about 50, 60 years ago when IBM produced the first mainframe that I'd be able to have more power right here than that, room-sized machine. If you think about where the space program went, would AI be able to think that out? Or do human beings have to think that out? I don't think AI could think things like that out, because
There is no creativity potential in these tools. And the word intelligence, I think, should never have been um, conflated into them. They're statistical engines, and they were invented on the assumption that the human brain is simply a massive statistical engine. And in the
This is
time
where
since then,
I just sorry, it's just autonomous decision making is what the rockets are doing based on an algorithm. I know it's
they're
an
doing
algorithm.
feedback control. It's not creative.
I know it's not creative, but
That's
it
what I'm
is.
talking about. Initiative, creativity. You're saying that that's how rockets run is no,
I, but
that's not what's happening there.
it's making a decision aside from.
It's reading sensor inputs, running calculations, and doing outputs to devices or other sensors. I
And
mean, it's not creative. It
uh
just flat out is not. That is not
right. It's not
not what we are discussing here. That is a completely different framework that those
tech,
operate on.
technically no, it's not creative.
No.
It depends what you mean by creative. I mean, so I was
Well,
talking
sure,
last
yeah, you
night.
can find creative
I
however you want and then say
yeah,
it's creative, but that doesn't
it
make it true.
it does. I mean, it does create art,
It does
but
not
but it's
create art.
but I mean, bad art is still art.
I
It
have some
generates
good stuff after you're done, but keep going. I don't want to forget.
I mean, AI. I mean, it it's
what AI system
it's a
has ever
human brain. It's
decided
just
on its
faster.
own initiative to go and make an image and then created it without any human input or feedback, without any human creativity or actual intelligence? What have these models done?
What do you mean?
So,
That's it. Nothing.
go
That's
on.
right. Perfect answer. Nothing. They don't,
I guess you could
because
say
that's not what they are. That's not what they do. Intelligence never should have been used with this concept. Neural networks is the more accurate term. That's, the underlying framework, but they're not intelligent.
So I can't share pictures on here. That's horrible. It's been disabled.
uh,
Yeah, we haven't been able to, I don't know.
All right, it's all good, man. So let's do
I can
this.
just
All
look
right.
around.
Go post them on the
Oh,
subreddit
oh,
post
I
for
could do that too, but then I'd
today's
have to figure out where it is.
uh,
Oh, and I'm using my mouse that's not hooked up to the Chromebook. That makes it so much harder. Um, all right, now let's see if I email these to myself. I probably did, because that's me. I do these things because I'm crazy. Oh man, I don't have them here. Let's see. Keep talking while I look for stuff.
right.
All right,
I
here's
mean,
the first one. All right, let's see if we could see this. All right. Ah, you like that? I don't know if it's legible there.
yeah, morning
okay.
show. Got the
Yes.
URLs on the sides here. Nice.
Now, this was created in a quick time. You know, I started this. Obviously, the picture is not something that was made and created, But now I have to find this next one. I don't think it's on my phone. I think I'm gonna have to email it to myself real quick, since we can't share here, which is annoying because I'm in tech and I don't know how to use any of this new stuff. YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff. All right, send myself a picture.
You know what I was saying to myself?
Keep talking though, I'll
That
be quiet.
that picture looks like something Data painted.
Yeah,
Data from Star Trek.
yes.
But
That's actually
Spot,
that.
spot over on the in the sitting in the corner.
but in reality, a person painted that. That's stupid. Oh,
See,
I
it
have to
takes too
give Data
long.
credit. Spot is a pretty creative name for
yeah.
an orange tabby cat.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
like the humor behind, you know. He I guess, do you think that they were implying that he already had some understanding of humor and emotion with that, by showing that there was something there already before the chip, right?
Oh yeah, he was yanking our legs the whole time. He was just the driest comedian of all time. Yeah.
The straightest straight man.
Yeah.
All right,
Um,
is it here finally? Come on, Gmail. And did I put the right picture in there? That's the worst part about it. No, of course I didn't, right? So
um,
keep talking. I'll get there at some point. It's more
Well,
important.
as far
So
as
so instead of explaining it, right? So last night, or I'll explain this. Last night and this morning, I was bored like I always am. And I went out and I made myself a Google Gemini picture that that's right here, of course, but I can't get it. Copy image. That that was human made, obviously with the exception of the writing in there, which I would have done had I had time, and not put anything in there. But I did not AI this picture that I showed you. I actually used whatever Chrome's painting tool is. I can't remember what it is. And, I shaped it. I put all the stuff in there. I sized it. I did all the things that, uh, that you need to do. So now let's see. Can I paste this in here? You guys don't believe I'm in IT at all, do you? Because I can't do any
no,
of this
no, I'm
stuff.
just
I'm
No, I
I
busting
mean,
my
believe
ass.
you.
an IT guy who does everything on command line. No, this is perfectly believable.
Where is
Yeah. Um,
Chat GPT?
yeah, it'd be
yeah,
like
I think I have
sticking
like
me in front of
a
a
similar
MacBook and say, okay, now go. Like, what?
no, I was just saying I think I have a similar training background to Chip, but I have no idea how to use social media. And I shouldn't say that because like I won't get hired anywhere because
It's
they'll be like,
probably
you
probably
can't use
better off that
Instagram.
way.
Ooh.
Uh,
Hmm.
I don't know. Proudly,
Um,
proudly social media illiterate.
Yeah, uh,
It's a good
I could.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it took me like a while to figure out Reddit. That's incredible.
Oh, I could dump these on Reddit probably. I just can't
Yeah,
dump
I mean,
these.
Yeah.
So I'll do that then. That's better. Where's Reddit on this computer? But
um,
so
Yeah, I give up on it.
I made an AI version of the same thing, and it's actually pretty horrible, I have to admit. Uh, I don't like how it turned out. Had I had more time, I probably would have changed it a bit. So let's see. In season, uh, where is it? Notifications. Epilepsy Universe. Oh, man, how do I make a new message in here? That's why I say you guys have to believe that I don't know what I'm doing. It's all lies.
I believe you.
Create. All right, cool. And why doesn't it work? So yeah, I'm just giving up on this. I made an AI picture. It looks like it does not look believable at all. It looks like it's computer generated. There's no life to it. There's no soul behind it. It's picking up a beach scene with waves. It's got a fake tree on the side. It's got a sunrise in the background. That looks kind of okay. It's not really good, but the picture that I made is different because there's soul and there's mistakes in there. There's all kinds of garbage in there.
Yeah.
And if you look, it's right up there, you know?
Oh,
Uh,
hey, I didn't even notice.
so
That's very
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
it's
Point
that
place
one.
of pride. Yeah.
And then I just dumped words on there, you know? You take that and it's like, hey man, it's the morning show. And there's my beautiful picture. So I don't know. Can you type into AI and say, hey, can you make a messy picture like it was made by a human? I don't really know. But then I have to admit that AI can probably tell if AI generated an AI picture.
You
And when you see the garbage that AI created for me, it looks fake. Go on.
I wonder now what you guys would think if the or of the idea that let's say specifically with this, the idea of the generative information or imagery, generative imagery, videos and uh, pictures and stuff, that there might be like a hard limit to the potential that they have, like just by virtue of having been trained on a gigantic data set of like the corpus of human artwork. And, there's some masterpieces, Renaissance and Baroque and modern era. But there's a lot more garbage art out there. And so if you take all of that and you like on a bell curve and kind of right in the middle there, and say right there, dead center in the median, um, that's kind of where they're limited, kind of clustered right around pretty average ability. They're not gonna be um, insightful, intuitive. It's just gonna be a roughly average kind of thing, Is that a reasonable hypothesis?
Uh, well, that will become at least appealing. Is that what you're saying? The
Well, no,
art.
that it has a hard limit. It won't ever be able to be at the absolute master level because it's been trained on a data set that the absolute master level is only the very upper limit, practically outliers in the whole of human art. So if that's what they're taking and you look at the bell curve of that and just kind of,
Okay. Well,
a standard deviation above and below is kind of where the AI is going to be, the generative images are going to be stuck.
I don't know. The, uh, this I'm sticking with the theory that AI will keep on and with the advancement that it is right now. And
I don't know. I
once
think
again,
So
but it's not. It's still not. It just thinks fast. It's just a fast thinker. Um,
yeah, but
Perhaps.
it's not a smart thinker though. It does it because so like self-driving cars like they have out in like LA or whatever. Those self-driving cars are only possible because they've been driven and trained so heavily on that map, in that range and whatever. You take one of those self-driving cars and you plop it in the center of Washington, D.C., it's not going to be able to drive itself around. It's not going to navigate. Um,
Hmm.
it's not, they don't function that way. They're not intuitive. Um, I mean, and they
But
get away with a lot of deterministic functions with a little bit of AI um, trickery in
once
terms
again,
of
I'm going to come back to the drones. If
the vision.
drones can be sent on a mission with self-deciding decisions, why can't a car do that?
Well, because the drones are operating on the same sort of very limited, there's a deterministic set of, I mean, we could fly drones over and do stuff
Um,
like that before any of these AI tools were there. That's not a big thing. It's just one
uh,
little part of it that gets replaced with a switch, a decision, and then
What you got?
huh?
um, there are cars around here driving themselves.
Yeah, because they're
Waymo.
trained in that area. You take a Waymo car and you stick it in a city where Waymo has not trained them and they don't work. They won't work. Waymo needs to train them for the areas that they're going to run in.
uh,
That's why they're not nationwide.
I have a couple comments, then I hear steps going on above my head, so I have to see what people are doing up there. I'm just going to mute and walk away though. But first, why can't Waymo drive those streets? I can go anywhere I want to in the world, not in the world, in Washington State, in Seattle, King County. How come Waymo can't pick up Google Maps? Because I know that when I'm on my phone and I hit Google and I say, hey man, how do I get to McDonald's? It tells me. So how come AI can't tell Waymo to do that? Because obviously it has the ability to see cars, it has the ability to start and stop. And actually, my wife and I were talking about this yesterday. My boss at work, he's like, oh, yeah, I got my wife a self driving car. It actually works. And I'm like, cool. Then I thought about it and I was talking about it with my wife, and she's like, so what else? Tell me more about it. I'm like, I don't know. That's literally the conversation I had. But the next time I see him, I'll definitely ask him because I am actually curious about that. So that was interesting. Number two, I happen to have from high school two pretty good friends. One of them's the son of a famous musician, and the other one is an artist. I don't want to say he's a DJ. He's a creative artist of digital hip hop and stuff like that. Both of them had said that AI is ruining music because there is no soul inside there. And these are people who know the business, not just idiots like me. One of them is a lot more prolific in his hatred of AI because AI is taking over music. You don't have the people in the back scratching the records, making a mistake here and there, deciding what's going to go great. You can put in "Here Comes the Sun," but you're not going to put "Welcome Sandman" or "Enter." Man, my brain's bad this morning. You're not going to throw Metallica after the Beach Boys during a party. Would AI do that? Would it know that it can't cross genres to be able to do stuff? I have no idea. I imagine it can. And then you go back again to the stuff hanging behind Mark. Can AI produce a guitar rhythm? Yeah, it can. Can
Yeah.
AI produce singing? Yeah, it can. But can it actually produce a song that has heart and soul into it? And that's where I go with AI, and can it do
Well,
stuff?
can it do anything, any of what you just described, without it being completely and entirely derivative from what has come before it? I don't
It
think
can.
there will never be like novel genre defining music generated by AI. It's just going to rehash what, you know,
Never is a really, really hard word to use in
Mm.
anything. But yeah, it's just right
the
now,
current
it's just going to rehash all the
paradigm.
garbage that people have played before. And again, it won't be anything new.
Isn't everything
But
technically derivative? Not derivative, but a mutation of something else.
Um,
it's derivative of the people who did the stuff before. An apple falls
Right.
on some dude's head. They're going to be like, wow, well, let's extrapolate from the apple falling on this dude's head to figure out what else we could do. Uh,
So
it's
following
There's
that,
there's a
why?
difference between influence and derivation. You can be influenced by somebody, but without being derivative of their work, you know? They're not sorry, they're not the same thing. Um
And
there.
yeah, and AI is not a person. That's the thing. And it's not, art is so subjective that I bet I would bet money on this that if you took an AI portrait and put it in a fancy billion-dollar gallery, people would pay money for it.
That's because people are
somebody will.
stupid.
I was gonna say
I
that
mean,
somebody will for
if
sure.
You really
yeah,
don't think they
if
Um,
wouldn't?
people buy art as a way to shelter their money and whatever, they'll buy it just because somebody says that it's something that's sought after. I don't think that the art market is necessarily a good indicator of the actual
No,
artistic.
no.
How
My
many
point is
people?
that's subjectivity. My point is art is subjectivity, and people are
Okay.
judging art or AI by the subjectivity of it as what you go into a museum and you might say that's a piece of crap on the wall, and you it might actually be created by a machine or not.
It might be a literal piece of crap on the wall, depending on the
Yeah,
gallery too.
And
Um,
I'm
um,
going to disappear, but I want to
that's
throw one more
that's
thing in
something
there.
that no AI will ever being able to reproduce.
And I want to say one other thing, then I got to see what's going on upstairs.
Mm.
It's not 100% true when you say you could slap an AI picture on the wall and someone will buy it. That part's true. Now, Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos go into a gallery and they're going to look at the art on the walls. Are they going to be able to tell what's AI generated or not? No, probably not. I don't know their backgrounds, but I'm going to guess no. But I do know that Jane Smith, who happens to be an expert in art, has been studying it for 40 years in all compositions and knows what she's doing. Will be able to pick the AI one out of a dozen on the wall, like a lineup, because she'll
In
be able to see. And it rolls back around to the first electric keyboards that were made. You could play the piano on there, or you can have it put the backbeat in there. and then it'll do the backbeat, it'll do the cymbals, it'll even play a song there so that you can actually just play a different piece of it.
Yeah,
So
there were musicians who were against the first synthesizers because
oh yeah.
Mm.
it,
And then you
it
keep
takes
going out in time, where's it going to be? But I'm going to disappear. I'll be back in a bit.
All right, we can talk
And by,
more about the industry when you get back. Okay.
and by the way, I still have multiple things to shut AI down when it goes out of control. So it's the Whomper, isn't that what it was in war games? WMPR, something like that.
Whopper
Anyway,
for
I'll be
Joshua. Joshua, yeah.
All right.
yeah. Well, so should we talk about something other than AI,
Yeah.
or was it
Yeah, let's
AI
move on.
or because yeah, I just I don't know, the CBS News one with the interview with the godfather of AI, there was just an observation that I had about the statement that he made that seems
Sure.
a little bit different. So he says, um, estimates a 10% to 20% risk that artificial intelligence will eventually take control from humans. I think that I've been hearing that misquoted a lot as 10 to 20% risk that artificial intelligence will eventually destroy all
Oh,
humans. And that's not,
All
as
humans.
far as I can tell, that's not the statement that he's making. It's just that it will no longer be, you know, I don't know, just because it takes control from humans or no longer submits to humans or whatever doesn't necessarily mean that it instantly becomes malicious. You
and
know,
what do you mean by what is it? I mean, his statement mean by destroy humanity, it can destroy humanity in a variety of ways.
yeah.
It can,
Well,
environmentally, cognitively, uh,
yeah.
yeah, it can make us lazy. It can just,
It could also
We're
like
already been made lazy, right?
yeah,
Oh,
mm,
um, well, that was
yeah.
quick, Chip. Welcome back.
oh yeah, I have the best wife in the world. She's like, you're having fun? Go have fun. And she's upstairs playing with her own stuff. And then I'm sure she'll hop on an MMO a little later. But I was also able to get these, which I forgot upstairs. So it was a successful trip. I need to have my vapes because I'm on a edible slowdown right now, which is
Oh,
amazing. You
the
stop eating
trail off.
edibles for a couple days, man, whew, makes this stuff so much better. But go on with what you guys were talking about. I didn't want to interrupt again.
Yeah, that's something. Well, just real quick, something, when you said that the edible roll off, so is it like, are you saying you're taking a tolerance break or sort of, but
So,
for edibles?
so we've learned over the last X amount of years, way too long, that if you swap different mediums, if you go from smoking leaf to smoking vape or to vaping to go to like a dry vape, herb vaporizer to edibles, you can kind of hit a good tolerance break because your system processes them all differently. I assume that is not fact. That is assumption on my part.
Okay.
So we'd smoke a joint and I get, on a scale of 1 to 10, it would be like a 2. And then I would take guesstimate 300 milligrams of edibles, which is way too much for people who don't know how much that is. We were talking yesterday about starting at 5 milligrams. I'm going to guess about 300. And then halfway to where I'm going, I'll drink 100 milligram shot. So so about 3 or 4 or 5 days ago, I honestly can't remember. I decided that I'm only going to take edibles and I'm not going to take a lot when I go out of the house because I'm paranoid that edibles are an AED, and if I'm out of the house without being stoned, that I'm going to fall on the floor and die. Uh, but as opposed to probably eating about 700-800 milligrams, I'm eating about 50 or 100. And we smoked a joint last night, and I was wasted out of my mind because I had tolerance break myself enough so that when I'm taking 100 milligrams, which is way too much for lots of people, it makes my tolerance so much, quote, lower, that a different medium of pot ingestion works so much better, like a joint. So yeah, it's interesting stuff, but yeah, I take way too much pot, so I need it to work better. It's cheap, but you know,
Cool. Cool. Well,
yeah.
thank you for clarifying. I just kind
Oh,
of piqued my
I'll talk
curiosity.
about pot all day. So
Well, let's
Different show.
was there more that we were wanted to talk about
We could
in
shift. I had another question about we were this was breaking news last week. I was watching the TV. I don't know, one of the days, and I just wanted to bring this up really quick for the parents here, the Cookie and Chip, really quick. Um, Meta and a whole bunch of other um big tech companies, they got sued and they lost. So, um, because it was decided that they were basically hurting the children, and
Targeting the children.
it's hard to talk. Yeah, okay. So, I mean, do you think I agree that social media is addictive and harmful to the brain? Do you think this is more of a solution, or and do you think this is more of a solution or just parents being lazy, not wanting to take the phone away
That's
from their kids?
I think that's it's becoming part of life. Uh Devices, if you can put the timer on them, but everywhere there's just stuff about everything. Even if you go as far as Nickelodeon, um, yeah, you're gonna find something that somebody doesn't want their kids to see everywhere. It's impossible to avoid it. I understand how they said they're targeting the children, they're putting certain ads and make them go to other things and stuff like that. But at this point, I don't think we can prevent it other than take away the devices and give you no way to go find that stuff. Other than that,
But
it's going to be kind of
certain
hard to stop it.
countries, many countries have banned social media for kids at a certain age.
Yeah.
Austria just banned social media for kids under 14. Uh, Other ones, I think, yeah. I mean,
how does that get enforced in a reliable way though? That's a question that keeps coming up in my mind because I remember like back in the day, in order to create an account whatever random forum or something, I had to check click a box. I agree. I am over 13 years of age or something. I
right.
mean, yeah, boom, clicked it. I'm 10 years old, whatever, right? Scout's honor? No, I wasn't a Boy Scout. No. So, I mean, how does that, I don't know how we can, I don't know.
It's the parent. The parent
Yeah,
has to do that. You cannot hold the child away from certain sites like people think you can.
yeah.
If a child knows how to get around things and they want to get to it, they're going to find a way. And like I said, it's everywhere. It's not just in one place things you're looking for. It's everywhere.
Right.
The parent has
So,
to make sure the child is not using that device in that way. Other than that, the child's just free roaming in the free world. You might as well say walking around naked, basically, just no care
It's
in the world. They don't know they're doing wrong. Wait, there could be some who know they're doing wrong, but some of them they're just being a kid.
so
it's
according to
other parents
Associated
though, right?
Press, they enforce it through shifting liability to the platforms, requiring man or requiring a verification or parental consent and government IDs using facial age estimation tech,
Oh,
restricting accounts. Yeah. You
so
need
just
basically
need
an
a
ID.
picture of the parent and the kid should be good to go then, right? Just stick a photo up in front of the camera, right? There's
Right.
daddy. He says I can go, and then they're in, right? I
Right.
don't know.
Using dad's
It,
ID from last year,
yeah,
5 years
it's
ago, the one that
just hold
expired.
up the family portrait, you know? Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, it's so important though. I'm seeing my nieces and nephew getting to that age, and I just don't know how my sister's gonna do it. I hope she's
Um,
careful, but that's yeah.
the reason I say it's kind of up to the parents because my kids are older, like teens, not over 18 yet, but teens. And like I said, it's hard to hide things unless you just take the device all around, give them other things to do. But there's ways of finding what you want to see everywhere. Like you said, they're going to find a way using the ID from their parent or whatever the case. It's going to happen. The way to keep them out is watch them as they're doing it or
You're not gonna,
take it away.
because yeah, it's gonna be hard to be looking over the shoulder all the time. Ugh.
Some of them might
Yeah.
learn from it.
So like everything else, I have thoughts on everything. So my kids are now adults, just adults, but adults. When they were young, we gave them computers. Why not? Because I had them. They all had their own computer, 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8. Usually we put them in like the playroom so we could see what they were doing. And cool. I mean, they weren't hacking people or programming. But you fast forward, let me see. When did COVID start? How many years ago? So my kids were COVID kids. They were home during their formative years during COVID. Um, so before and after COVID, I would use Norton parental controls. And that gave you the ability to say, I would like my child not see this, that, or the other thing. I want to pull off YouTube, whatever the case might be. And that was really cool. I happen to have two kids, one kid actually who's really, she outpaces me in anything related to programming or anything like that. My other daughter outpaces me in art type stuff because she is amazing digital and drawing person. But all three of them were able to break Norton enough, and they didn't have root access or whatever Windows super user, and they were able to break Norton. And it's Norton, it's not some garbagey little company. The Norton family enough to be able to let them go anywhere they want to. And of course, I'm like, well, man, if you're doing that, what am I going to do? How am I going to prevent that? Because, like Pookie said, unless you take away the device, you can't do that. Now, I don't know. I believe talking to people, knowing people who have companies that work out of China, China is completely blocked out. They don't really let most egress and whatever that most in and out in China is highly and strictly regulated.
The Great Firewall of China, right?
They have to, their phones are their IDs, their phones are their ATM cards, their phones are everything. And because the country has the ability to do whatever they want to do with those phones, they could do anything, period. So they would probably be able to put parental controls on their kids' hardware, computer, phone, and it would be a lot harder for them to break out. But even if they break out, where are they going? You know, if you're firewalled in, you can't get anywhere. But that's an AI topic for later. So my kids grew up in the digital age. My kids have tons of friends around the world. They've, quote, dated people that they've never met. Everything is tied to their computers or their phones. They don't even, I'd have to guess that with the exception of me, they probably have almost never actually made a phone call, because why make phone calls? You just text people. So I go full circle and I go back to what Pookie said. And this is what we've said to our kids our entire life. Don't do drugs. Don't have casual sex. Go to college, blah, 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 blah. And then I think about it, and with having 3 adult kids, if I didn't teach them by the time they're adults, there's nothing I could do about that. So I don't want to say that it's the parents' responsibility, because I have no idea what's going on in people's lives. I mean, for example, someone might have like epilepsy and 4 seizures a day. Are they going to be able to geofence their children from getting out to porn? No, you know, they can't do that. So it really depends on the parent. There's also parents who are, let's use the word icky. Why are they going to have their kids blocked off from the internet? They don't care. Just grab me some more meth. You know, so I think it really does. There's stuff that they can do. I had logged into somewhere recently and it said, we cannot make up an account for you until we verify that you're as old as you say you are. Can you please send us a picture? It'll be verified and your account will be created. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Then funnily enough, of course, I tried it again. It didn't ask for any of that stuff, but you know, that's life. Um, yeah, you have to know what your kids are doing, or you have to teach them right. You have to take away all the devices. Otherwise, nah, they'll do whatever they want to do. I mean, I lock down the kids' phones. They do whatever they want to do. It's a different world. Back in the olden days. Oh, go
I
ahead.
just want to say,
In the
no
old
matter
days.
no matter what you do, keep your kids away from VR chat. That game is basically just a grooming playground. And anything with like the VR goggles on, like you can't see what they're seeing and stuff. You can't necessarily hear what they're hearing, who they're talking to, what they're talking about. And it is insane what some people can uh, do, think up, and
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a couple of videos of people just, showing this, demonstrating, they go in and create a brand new thing, pretend to be a 12-year-old girl, and immediately getting approached and inappropriate anything, not even
There's
2 minutes. It's that in like Roblox, I've heard is just like a
yeah,
cesspool.
there's like people who aren't pretending to be children dating children in games.
Yeah,
Um, Roblox is one of them, and that surprised me because I just been letting my kids play that for years. And I
yeah.
heard someone say something about a boyfriend. She was like, I didn't say anything about a boyfriend. Somebody else said their boyfriend. I was like, you guys have a boyfriend on a game? And she's like, my daughter's like, yeah, they do that. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm behind. And she make me feel
Mhm.
like I'm getting old. I did not know that you can date someone on a game. I don't know what you can do on the game. Maybe run next to each other. I don't know what's allowed because I never played it, but that's a lot. So
Well,
it's hard to stop them from everything. You just gotta either sit over their shoulder, watch the screen. It's
Talk
hard
to your
to stop
kids.
everything,
yeah,
huh?
with your kids,
I don't
Kevin.
know. I don't. I,
Or
I don't know,
teach them better
kids.
and show them what not to do and what they should do.
Yeah.
It's hard to say they won't do it though. It's like the kid
Yeah,
that
right.
grows up in the church and turns 18 and learns that alcohol is alive. I mean, a thing. Eventually, you got to be there to stop a kid. I feel like
Yeah.
if you're not in that kid's life, they might just do whatever they like.
This is a different uh, entity than alcohol or tobacco, though, in a way, because yeah, you could just this is so uh, ingrained in society, technology. It's everywhere. You have to take it to school and have to take it home to do your homework. So, I mean, it's just how do you regulate this and how do you monitor the weird relationships that children develop?
One
Right.
of the one of the games my kids played, I'm gonna say it was Wizard 101, and that game gave the ability to drop down what you want to say. You couldn't enter free text in there. You could say, "Hi, good morning. How are you? I'm a wizard. I want," whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But are you going to do that for a 14-year-old so they can
Mm.
autonomously type what they want to? Uh, no. And yeah, tech goes everywhere. I'm on a Chromebook. I had to get my kids after COVID was quote over and they had to go back to school. And yeah, they carried it to and from. But one of my kids didn't want a Chromebook. They wanted a Windows laptop so they can
Oh,
break out of the school firewall and do whatever they want. And you can imagine which one of my kids did that, the smart tech one. But yeah, we're going full circle. You have to teach your kids right, and that's a tough thing to even say, because
yeah.
right is wrong in a lot of places. We often talk about the differences between Oklahoma and Washington, and those are pretty big differences. So the kids there are going to grow up completely different than the kids who live here. So that's the same thing. The parents are responsible for all that stuff in whatever form or way, or not responsible. It's right for parents to try to bring their kids up properly. All three of my kids know that if I don't care what age they were, I don't care where they are, I don't care, since two of them are still under 21, I don't care where they go. If they're around people who drink and drive, drugs and drive, if they're going to do that, no, you call me and Uber will be there to pick you up and take you home. No problems whatsoever. Um, because I don't want them to die. And, while I was a perfect kid when I was younger and I did nothing wrong ever, kids are kids. I I have yet to see my kids be as bad as I was when I was a
Well,
kid, but I know they don't tell me everything either. So, but yeah, at this point, if I haven't done my job right, there's nothing I could do now. I hope that I did my kids properly in how I raised them. But yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Another story would be it's like I can prevent a child from going all over the internet, but then it also is gonna come from maybe a friend or whatever the case. And that's what I found out. I'm like looking at a picture, I believe it might have been I think it might have been Snapchat. I'm looking where I shouldn't be spying, but I'm spying, and this person was not paying attention. And I'm looking at a message from a guy, and I'm like, yeah. But then the guy happened to actually be a girl under a girl's name. But there's a group chat with these kids, and I opened it, and there's this picture of a trans, basically a girl, but it's a guy. And then the person just like whips it out. And then the kids, they all think it's funny. And I have to explain that to my daughter that you guys do not understand what's going on. And you have to not talk to those people, and you have to not do what they're doing and thinking it's right, or it's just funny. That's not a joke. They were making jokes on it and trolling in the comments and stuff, and yeah, it's hard to avoid certain things, because if they don't have the computer, somebody can send them a video. And like I said, it was harmless because they didn't know what they're doing, but they're laughing at it and making fun, which isn't good as well.
I would say that that's not harmless. That's grooming.
They didn't, like, some people will go and watch stuff like that for other reasons. The children, they watched it because it's a girl with a, you know, that's the part they thought were funny. They knew
Yeah,
nothing about the other
right.
parts and
Which is
playing with it,
grooming
stuff like
or
that.
normalizing something that should not be normal to these kids.
Right,
They thought it was funny. That's not right.
right.
Um, that's yeah. Somebody trying to do that is trying to get these kids to think that, oh, no big
It's
deal.
all over the internet. Somebody's kid found it and sent it to the group chat, and I'm just like, 15 kids I don't even know. They
Yeah.
might have met off of video games, might have met out at school, all kinds of stuff. And I was just trying to figure out who the kids were, but there's too many of them for me to find out who they were, where they're from, and all that stuff. And just had to prevent those games and the stuff like that. But yeah, Roblox, I found out that it's a dating thing, or they use it to date. Um,
It's
yeah, it's
um
crazy. I thought that was a child's game.
it
I
it
thought it was
is. It's
harmless.
supposed to be. It's the way it was designed and intended to be, kind of like a create your own game sort of thing, interactive with other kids, ostensibly, but it's just, I don't know, anywhere, any online gathering
Not safe.
place intended for children is inherently going to become unsafe almost immediately. Um, and I don't see any solution to that, at least not aside from just entirely denying them access. And
Or
that's
sitting over their
only,
shoulder all day.
yeah, it's only feasible for so
It's,
long. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
this is a
Speaking
depressing
of,
episode, isn't it?
I
Uh,
mean, I don't like find like bad stuff in their search history or anything like that. I don't
yeah.
find them searching on certain sites and all that stuff. Like I said, I found something about a trans, and that is something I was just like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, that girl has." And I told her, "You can't laugh at stuff like that. You guys can't be in the comments trolling and stuff like that, because you guys don't understand what's going on in that person's life, or at all. They just thought it was funny that a girl had something, you know." Um, yeah, it's like I said, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard to stop the children these days. Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
no, it's a
you can tell them don't do it as much as you want to, but if you're not
it's
going to
a
sit there with them,
method of
that's
communication
the
that has
worst.
not been perfected and is long from perfection. So we'll get around to that. I mean, anything else going on in the country?
Uh,
ICE, the war,
There's a couple
anything?
other things happening, I
Yeah.
think. Um, yeah, I don't know. We can
What
take
those
our pick.
how about the
Um,
TSA agents
there's a
not getting
rocket
paid?
going up tomorrow. Atlas 5. Oh, wait, today?
Yes.
No, no
I
more.
got something here that says Oxford researcher warns that AI is heading for a Hindenburg style disaster.
Is it
That
the same guy as the? No, that wouldn't be, would it? Jeffrey Hinton? He's not from Oxford, is he?
I don't know what Hindenburg is. I didn't do my research on it, but I do have
Hindenburg,
the article.
the Zeppelin, the German Zeppelin, hydrogen gas that crashed and burned, blew up to, the cover of that Led Zeppelin album with the big blimp thing going down on fire. That was a real event. Uh,
Mm.
yeah. Lighter than air travel was thought to be the future of transatlantic uh, crossings travel, but the United States had put significant restrictions on our supply of helium gas, inert helium gas, to the Nazi regime. So as a result of that, they didn't have any inert gas that they could do, that they were, um, so they were using hydrogen instead, resorting to hydrogen. And as a result of that, um, spark makes it go boom really quick. The hydrogen, um, as soon as it gets in contact with oxygen and a spark, it goes up, and the whole thing went down. I think 30 people died, 30 something. A couple
Wow.
managed to escape by jumping down. Um, but yeah, Hindenburg is, um, yeah, pretty significant historical moment. After that, even though it was only, or even though it could have been avoided with helium and, could have been made safe in the future, nobody wanted to travel on airships like that again. So yeah, that's that's part of what spurred on the development of cross-Atlantic travel. Um, 'Cause- yeah.
And just for those who may or may not know, uh, if you've seen the Goodyear blimp, that's what we're talking about. Not that, but the same tech. It's a big helium blimp that flies around and then shows you sporting events because that's important in life. I actually believe that. They shouldn't be making billions though. Anyway, off topic again.
Oh, that's
Uh,
what this is about. Uh,
in
I
other
sent an
news,
article.
Tiger Woods got arrested again for DUI. How fun
Yeah,
is
did you see
that?
that?
Yeah.
Let's see that. Yes.
Jupiter Island, Florida, his Land Rover rolled onto its side after a collision with a pickup truck. He was uninjured but charged with DUI, property damage, and refusing a lawful test. So it sounds like he was not, yeah, not wanting to do a field sobriety or anything. Martin County Sheriff John Budenseek stated Woods showed signs of impairment at the scene. The breathalyzer registered zero point 0 for alcohol. Woods refused a urine test, leading to charges of refusal to submit a lawful test. So, ooh, blew clean on the breathalyzer, but refusing the urinalysis. That's a little, wonder what he was doing. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Is he
I
still
mean,
big
yeah, depending on what you're
in
doing.
uh in professional golf? I haven't kept up with, I never kept up with it, but is he still as big a name as he used to be, or
Not really. He's kind of in his retirement around age.
okay.
In the
Tiger
game,
Woods.
he's
Yeah.
good. It's just a game, though. He's still just as good in the game. They haven't showed him on the decline, but it's
I
a
don't care
game.
if he's the greatest golfer ever. I don't. It's golf.
Yeah. You don't like golf?
No, it's for rich fat guys.
Yeah,
My dad plays
Rich
golf.
fat
Watch it.
guys. Oh man.
Not everybody who plays golf is rich. Sometimes the groundskeepers can get a couple holes in.
Yeah, not all of them are fat.
Yeah.
There should be children playing there in that land and stupid idiots hitting a ball into a hole.
Oh yeah.
Did you
Golf
know
was
that
never golf
Come
was
again?
never one of my favorites. So
did you know
I had
that when it was invented in the Scottish Highlands, it was originally a sheep's testicle that was used as the ball, and they hit it with their wooden clubs. After a while, they found that the testicles used more than others, which had, been impacted and had dimples on them, actually traveled farther than players' testicles that had not been used as much. And so yeah, that's how they helped to discover or helped to uncover the fluid mechanics of turbulence around objects like that. The um, smooth flow of air around an object is not always the best way to get low drag around it. Sometimes creating a turbulent weight can help to make it fly farther. So that's why golf balls are all bumpy these days.
I did kind of have a feeling that golf was a conspiracy to get around more testicles.
Oh
you
man.
know that story makes me want to play golf. I mean, come on, but I have
Boxing
to say,
testicles with a
I'd
club.
use testicles instead of golf balls, so people
Oh
probably
my.
wouldn't like me.
Balls.
I
Right.
don't want to hear about any more testicles for the
We're,
rest of the
we're,
year.
we're done with this conversation.
Well,
Yeah, that's as much as we're going to talk about testicles for the rest of the year.
the year, really?
I'm just kidding.
The,
We'll be talking about testicles next week. What
the
am I talking
year
about?
If not testicles.
1312, Jameis
Mm.
O'Reilly says, "Oh, I really like that sheep and his testicles." And he invents the new game, golf. He doesn't want
I
to be
think
around his ugly
it would have
wife.
been Mac Henley, right? That's Scottish Highlands. I don't think that O Henley, right?
Sure, either
Yeah,
one.
just I don't know. What's
Hmm.
with this
Um,
I don't know. I'm just
crazy kilt in the high Scottish mountains, whacking walls and
um,
yeah.
oh, to everybody out there watching, press that thumbs up, like, subscribe, share it, and all that good stuff, or just comment. And we do comment back, or we try to. Where were we at again on today's news?
Today's another news article I got here. There was a fraternity leader, Northern Arizona University, being charged with hazing in a student's alcohol death. So
Oh
that's
wow!
interesting. I've never really understood the whole Greek life concept and whatnot. Not that that's likely to surprise any of you guys, but
I've never,
the
I never
the
understood the reason for
fraternities,
hazing.
yeah,
I,
fraternities, sororities, and all that stuff. It just, I don't
I
know.
understand it objectively, but they take it way too far. And I don't like them. I just don't like frats, you know.
They attract a
I read
certain
something
type
about
of
a,
individual, don't they?
I
Um,
read something about a frat, and they were, I guess they were like getting raided or whatever. They're not dorm, but they're like house or whatever that everybody stayed in,
yeah,
and they had one of the guys stuff some drugs in his mouth, and they're like, keep your mouth closed, and nothing will happen, and you're the rookie or whatever here. So they made him do that, and he ended up swallowing some, and he died. This was like maybe 2017, I think. I forgot why
Yeah,
they did that.
this has happened a
Why they
couple of
allowed
times.
it. No one went to jail.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on several things. One, are they an athlete? And they're definitely not going to be punished. Two, I don't know. I have no fact to back that up, but
I don't know
Well,
if
a
it's
it's
lot of
stipulations.
schools have covered stuff up, and that
yeah,
is,
it's certainly
yeah,
reasonable, especially
yeah.
if they're like a star athlete for sure.
Mhm.
The big money maker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Oh,
actually really funny because once again, my wife and I were literally talking about that yesterday when we were
really?
sitting around smoking pot. Uh, and I was telling her that where I went to college, I don't remember how the story started, but I was telling her that when I went to college, there were fraternities and sororities, but at my college, there was no housing for those fraternities. So there were no fraternity houses or sorority houses unless they rented a house off campus, but it wasn't, not many did that. But what always made it interesting is there was a fraternity and tons of kids on my floor where I went freshman year at college joined this fraternity. And I'm like, cool. And they all got hazed, and I don't know the details, but it was some pretty nasty stuff. But the part that never made sense to me was I was friends with all these people. So they had the jackets, they go to their little meetings, but whenever they were running the door at the bar, I'd get let in just like everybody else, even though I wasn't 21. Whenever they did anything, since I was friends with all of them, I got to do it too. And I'm like, why exactly am I going to pay money so that I could have friends? That doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So it was interesting. I was still able to do everything they did except for like the sorority fraternity mixers and stuff like that. And yeah, and ooh, interesting stuff. Yeah, I've never been a Greek life person whatsoever, but I did enjoy their benefits though. So
Yeah, I don't
email would go
understand
to
hazing. Like waterboarding, like are you trying to prove yourself to someone? Like you prove that you can survive waterboarding? Because I didn't understand it, to be honest. Uh
It's a
yeah.
matter of conformity and putting your
Ultimate
dues
rules.
in, apparently. Yeah. You're showing your loyalty.
Yeah.
Fostering a sense of camaraderie or like um uh, I don't know if there was ever an or something, but is that basically it? Just a sense of camaraderie, or is there something a bit more sinister kind of
Something
behind it?
maybe to bond the group over something. So you gotta, I don't know.
Whoever
Yeah,
has the
the
most money
ritual,
is in charge, I guess.
the idea of like ritual humiliation and whatnot always it doesn't. I don't know.
the only thing I think about hazing is what it does is it creates a ton of bullies because you're a freshman and you get bullied by the fraternity into, drinking, eating poop, whatever it is. You're going to get mad about that, but you're going to be like, man, I went through all that work. I might as well join. But then when you're a sophomore and all the freshmen are there, you're going to be like, hey, I'm going to be a bully to those
Lifetime.
freshmen. It happened to me, so I might as well do that.
Is
But then,
this? Oh, sorry.
sorry, go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. But
Go.
I was thinking cult mentality because
It
they
is.
brutalize people, and then are there sex parties and stuff that they get? They get benefits
they
Other
I
things,
there's always like
Wouldn't know.
secrets
I
and
wouldn't know either.
woo,
Didn't
whatever
go to
that they,
college.
Ye-
only for the brothers or
Didn't go
sisters or
long
what
enough, at
have you.
least.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think that's a really good point, the cult mentality. And then sort of, the same concept then of once you get in, you've had this investment into it that makes it that much harder to leave because you have to be basically admitting that all of that investment up to that point was for naught, I guess.
That's what
That'd be-
car dealers do.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait,
Mhm.
what are car dealers doing? I didn't hear all that.
Oh, they invest time. You invest time with them, and you're in the dealership for 4, 5, 6 hours. They're going to talk to their boss, and people will buy a car because they're so invested in time that they have spent looking for this car that it feels like it's worthless not to walk out the door with it. And that's a huge way that salespeople in dealerships make money. I have family members who work as car salesmen. So, yeah,
Does it apply
that's
both ways though? If you go to a dealership and you end up wasting 7 hours of the salesperson's time, do they feel if you really look like you're going to walk out, would they then feel a pressure and investment that, they don't want to lose the entire workday to somebody who's just not, when they thought they had one on the hook?
Not that many people might come in. You might get a few customers a week, I'm assuming.
Mm.
yeah, I don't know how that really works, honestly, but my guess would be that they do everything they try to get you the price that you want. But at the end of the day, if you're just walking out the door, yeah, they're going to get mad about that. They're probably going to try to stop you, but you know, it's
Yeah.
a back and forth. It's lose lose for everybody, and that's what bothers me about everything in the world. There's no winning. There's lose lose for everybody. Even if you're orange, you're a lose lose situation. You know, so yeah, and back to the you're absolutely right. Fraternities are like cults. They suck you in and they make you believe in a different way of life. But then what happens when you have generations of bullies who are bullying each other or bullying the younger people? Well, what are they going to do when they hit corporate America? Whoever does, they're going to stab people in the back to get up into a higher role. And then what are they going to do? They're going to bully the people underneath them. And then the people underneath them in corporate America are going to get mad and say, well, if Jim could get promoted and now he has restricted stock options, then I need to get promoted too. Well, how did he do it? Well, he was mean to people. I'm going to be mean to people too.
It
And it's
worked for him.
just proliferates the cycle of hate that
There's
is,
also, uh, I would imagine, a bit of like good old boys mentality where you
oh
you,
yeah,
you know somebody, you've basically been buying access to your own future by paying these fraternity dues. You've got connections and somebody on the inside to get a foot in the door. I mean, which is really the only reliable way to actually get hired in most of corporate America these days, to already know somebody who can pass the um, pass the resume over. Like something like 80% of resumes are never even read. So,
Yeah.
if your dad's dad is fraternity brothers with the CEO of this other gigantic company and stuff, you got a really good connection there. And I know that they definitely take seriously. So
That
maybe
is,
that's
people are always complaining about nepotism.
yeah,
That is nepotism right there. It's just a
it's impossible to get rid of also, right? Because you can just say, no, he was the most qualified candidate that we considered. How do you prove otherwise?
And why would you try? Like when I was talking to human resources after I had my first seizure, I was like, you know, do you guys follow ADA guidelines? And they're like, well, all right. I've been here. This is what the HR dude said to me. He's like, I've been here for a little bit over a year, and I have to say the following. I'm very unhappy being here at this company because everybody who comes in with a valid complaint gets tied up in court because corporate lawyers are going to do everything they possibly can to make sure that the little man can't get by in life. And if they say, well, if you have epilepsy and we allow you to stay home and work from home because you can, even though you saved us all during the pandemic, then the next person who comes along with epilepsy will be like, well, how come I can't work at home? And they'd be like, well, I guess you have to, because we already made that exception. It's kind of like precedence in court, So then it's going to be like, I'm not epileptic, but I have whatever. I can't come up with a good. I have scoliosis. I should
Anxiety.
work from home. Exactly. I have anxiety. I need to work from home. And they're going to be like, well, no, because if we let one anxiety person through, then all of them are going to need to. And then don't even start on the depressed people. But it's also, yeah, it's really interesting how that works. And he's like, I absolutely hate it, but there's nothing you can really, really do. And I'm old, so I'm not going to go and make noises and start yelling and screaming about stuff. I like to give good advice, have friends, and sit in the corner and have nobody know what I do, because that makes life easier. I work really hard. My stuff's really good, but I like it when no one knows what I do. It sucks though when you're on a vacation and they call you to fix stuff. But that's the
When they
downside.
realize what you do.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they do. My boss said
Totally.
to me, I came up with a plan, and I presented it to my boss about how we should split the team out. And he looked at me and he was like, man, this is a great idea, but I need the other 6 people in this team to do what they're doing, because you could do your stuff alone and you've automated your stuff so that you know what you're doing and you could do your job easy. They don't know what their job, they don't know how to do their job properly. So they need 6 people as opposed to you having one person. And the stuff I do alone blows my mind. The things I'm responsible for solely that nobody else knows in a 100,000 people company, that makes me scared to my core. Because 2 years ago I actually fell down at work and started shaking, and then they got freaked out and they called Dell and they were like, Dell, we need a contractor today to come in and do Chip's job. And I'm like, cool, man. And we got a contractor in to do my job. And I'm like, well, how come we couldn't bring somebody else on site to do that for me? So yeah, it's and I don't even remember where I started that conversation, but yeah, corporate America's messed up. They don't care about anything.
Good to know.
But I go there.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, well,
Mark looks like he's got
the
something.
people themselves care, like care about each other, care for each other to the same degree that any other people do. It's just the environment of corporate America forces decision trees to prioritize all the wrong variables, and it's just it results in a bizarrely twisted like hierarchies that I don't know.
When I had my first seizure at work and I was at home and I was talking to my manager and my director, I was like, hey, can I get an exception to work from home while I figure this stuff out? I can't drive. So can I have a couple months to figure this out? And my manager was like, that's reasonable. My director was like, well, do you really need months to figure this stuff out? I don't think that you can even get it approved if you put months in there. So why don't you type up a professional email, send it to your manager and your director who was telling me this, so that we can approve what you say to the AVP you're going to send this to. And I'm like, really? We're talking about giving some guy who's epileptic a couple of weeks off, not off, working from home like we did during the pandemic, so I can figure out what I'm doing. So I send up this email. My director says, well, you shouldn't really put in 2 months. What I'd really like you to do is put in 2 weeks. And I'm like, what's 2 weeks going to do for me? And at the end of the story, I sent that email off and I got back a reply of, I'm sorry, that's what FMLA is for. We're not going to help you. And I'm like, cool.
Wow.
I really appreciate putting in 16 years of my life at this place. So, yeah, so that was good. So that's corporate America.
Wow.
Don't join corporate America if you can. I unfortunately got sucked in by my second ever job. So, and once you work for big oil, you want that big oil money. So I don't work for them anymore, but evil, evil companies. When my wife and I met, I worked for big oil and she worked for big pharma. So it was awesome. It's like the two most hated groups in the country, and we worked for both of them. So neither of us work for them now, though. So yeah, and I should shut up. I talk too much.
When you worked for Big Oil, was that like in Texas and stuff?
Oklahoma, Texas, and then you have refineries all over the country. You have depots. Big Oil. You want to talk about nepotism? Man, that place was crazy. But I got to see wonderful sights and sounds like Oklahoma. So I I'm not an Oklahoma type person, but it was fascinating living down there because people were so interesting. And I was there for about 2 years. And I'm a sociology and anthropology bachelor's person, uh, despite the fact that my evil mother, who's burning in hell, told me to go into computers. I didn't listen to her. I'm like, man, I should have listened to her. But yeah, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, big oil, all that stuff. It was interesting. Oh, the Oklahoma people. Yeah, it was fascinating to live with them because they were they were very set in their ways of how they thought the world should be, as opposed to my feeling that as long as you keep it behind your door and you don't have it leave your house, think about whatever you want to. I don't care. Don't impose it on other people. Don't start wars because you need oil, because that's all this war is about too. Um, Desert Storm that my buddy was in, it was all about oil. It had nothing to do with anything. No humanitarian issues, no nothing, no
I
keeping
don't
people
think there was
down.
ever any illusions of Desert Storm being humanitarian, right?
Oh yeah.
Saddam like rolled through Kuwait and we're like, nope. But yeah, we didn't stay for
Yeah.
years and years and years and years and years and years. Nation building, right? And just back to your border. Um, yeah, I don't know. This is
We're off the rails. See, I bring us off the rails. It's so much fun.
well,
Uh,
no, the nation is off the rails, fighting
oh,
for
the
our
nation is off the
yeah,
rails.
yeah.
You know, if I didn't go walking yesterday, I'd be at the same place I was today to join the No Kings rally that we're having out here. But I just, I know it's really bad to say, and it's horrible as a person who has beliefs. I don't have the energy to go down there today, so I'm not going anywhere. But yeah, it's crazy. I rolled through on the bus a city that was doing No Kings, and it was crazy. 18,000 pros here in Washington versus the 100 cons in this country. And there were people walking up down the street carrying Confederate flags. There was actually a guy who had a Confederate flag on his truck, and he did an illegal U-turn and ripped around the corner, and he came within about 5 feet of running over tons of people because he thought it was cool and there should be no rally against other people. But at the same time, though, that's exactly the same thing I was just talking about. That shouldn't leave your home either, unless the people you're talking to are cool with it. Because realistically, there should be no king. There should be someone who leads us places, but it should be elected not by idiots who run individual states, by whoever wins the most amount of votes. Because when I lived in Oklahoma, we used to laugh because they'd say, with 0.00002% of the votes in, Oklahoma has been called for insert Republican person here. And, I mean, how's that fair? That's a whole
It's pretty
nation.
reliable when when they can tell what statistical or what number of votes would be statistically necessary for um, the opponent to win. They can tell pretty early on, It would have taken a miracle to begin with for it not to go red, but by the
Yeah.
time you get through like 10 ballots, not 10, but I mean you get the point. They can tell, and I don't think they've ever been wrong after calling Oklahoma that early specifically.
Never have been. So,
Um,
but I'm also a believer that Hillary should have been in office because she got more votes. So how can someone get more votes but not win something? If you're watching with the exception of should I really say this? Testicle golf. Um, the higher score always wins. You don't go out there to win by having the lowest score. You go out there win by having the highest score. Hockey,
Win by
football, all those
default.
good things. You're not going to.
Well,
So, how can they say, well, what we're going to do is we're going to take a handful of people to decide what
and
your state wants to do? So, sorry,
I'm not gonna have this discussion about the Electoral College because it's
sorry,
stupid. We all know
sorry.
it's a I don't know,
Stupid.
17th century rule or 18th century rule to preserve slavery. So, yeah, that's the fact. And it's idiotic. We all agree, right?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Sorry, I shouldn't have gone off on that tangent
no,
because I think
no,
we're
you're
all on the
right.
same
It's just,
page.
and it's frustrating and dumb and stupid and does not represent the people truly. It just, And there's a lot of things in our government that makes no sense. Why does why do the Dakotas and Wyoming, why does that make up 6 senators? In California
Yeah, or
has what,
Vermont.
55 million people? 2 senators.
Yeah, and again, it's like politics is like corporate America. You know, you're mean to people and you can make it in the world. We had a couple friends who were principals of schools, and they weren't the nicest people in the world. But even in a school district, you have to stab people in the back and be a mean, horrible person to get to the level of where you can take care of children and put them on the right path in life. And I'm like, how does that work? So
I would say you
you're
have to
gonna,
have authority over people. You have to know and have the self-discipline um, and intelligence to guide others because
Also,
we
why?
certainly don't. Hmm?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, because what you speak of, Chip, is a problem. Uh, we can still have this method of republic. It's just it's decayed over the past 50, 60 years. 50 years, I'd say the most. I mean, they're saying no kings, but it seems
yeah,
like the kings have been here for a very long time. It was the CEOs you worked for and that were paying off all the presidents a long time ago,
I
in my opinion.
I think this is they're just trying to use language to redefine and reframe things. Um,
I know you can use language to prove anything.
well,
You
no,
can you can use
they're
facts to prove anything.
misusing language. Kings or rulers in a hereditary line. That's not the way that the political system currently runs. A lot of corporate America, perhaps, it operates on nepotism, as we discussed, but even that's not the hereditary aristocracy that kingship used to present, and which our um, revolution was fought to overthrow. Um,
We're living in an aristocracy.
okay, prove it. Go on. You made a statement. What
Yeah,
Okay,
is?
I was waiting for a follow up.
we got the numbers right here. 1% of America, 1% of households holds 31% of all U.S. wealth, while matching. I can't. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. The top 1% hold $55 trillion in assets, while the bottom 50% share 2.5 of the nation's wealth. So half of the country hold 2.5% of the nation's wealth. That seems like a problem. That seems like that top 1% is the aristocracy.
Seems like is not is. So I don't know. I don't accept that statement. It's just making a
Okay.
statement and another statement that, I mean, okay,
Okay, how about
we're
the
able
increasing
to
divide,
prove,
the evaporation of the middle class
yeah, that's
over the
uh,
past 50 years, once again?
okay. Life's not fair. Life's never been fair. It's more
So go
fair
fuck.
now than it had been at any point in history, long ancient history for sure.
Well,
I don't,
that was not the America
this
I
is
grew up
not
in.
aristocracy as you had asserted, though. I mean, you just made one statement and then made another statement as if it was proof. Like,
It is
define
proof.
aristocracy and show how that's
A
happening.
small percentage owns majority of the wealth.
That's not the definition of aristocracy, though. You're just redefining it to fit
You're such a
what
dildo.
you, what?
Um, everybody out there watching, please press that thumbs up button.
Aristocracy is a form of government or social structure where power is held by a small, privileged ruling class, often characterized by hereditary nobility, wealth, or presumed intellectual moral superiority. Now, I don't think we live in an aristocracy. I think we live in an
Okay, there we
oligarchy.
go. There we
Mm.
go. Thank you.
It's a technicality. Don't stop,
Right.
stop,
Thank
stop,
you.
stop, stop doing
Stop
this. You,
trying to get technicalities by. Like, don't.
but we have an see, you're not listening.
I listened and
We
you,
have an aristocracy, which is part of an oligarchy, which is what our
the
country is.
oligarchy is not an aristocracy. Don't try to redefine words as
But
you
you're wrong
wish.
there.
No.
I'll Google that too.
Yeah.
I'll have this one. The only thing I will add to this, which I don't think brings much value, is do you think or don't think that Eric Trump, I believe that's his name, is going to be in politics or not? I'm
No.
pretty sure he will be in politics because he's going to have to be in politics. But again, this is not a wheelhouse that I have any knowledge in, despite being a sociology and anthropology major. That was too long ago.
No, he's not going to be in.
I
He
hope
won't
so.
be.
I hope not is the way that, yeah, I don't know which way that. I agree. That's the best way to put it.
He's unlikable and has no charisma.
That hasn't stopped people before.
Well, I mean, I don't like Donald Trump, but he does have charisma. I'll give him that much.
Agree.
Okay.
That one.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
I enjoyed his casinos in Atlantic City. They were really nice. The Taj Mahal was absolutely beautiful. So his casinos were good. I don't think he owns them anymore, though. I think most of them closed.
yeah.
Mm.
That's
I
not helpful for this conversation, though.
it took me back to some other stuff
So,
though.
well, yeah, a little help here. The reason you're having such trouble is because there is actually a difference between an aristocracy and an oligarchy. Okay? An aristocracy defined as rule by the best, in quotes, define best however they choose, right? They define it in their own image, I'm sure. The best or most virtuous citizens theoretically acting in the public interest, whereas oligarchy is a rule by a small group of wealthy, influential individuals operating in their own self-interest. So they're not the same.
Not sure about that.
I'll go twist around, find some convoluted definition that fits your narrative, but this was just a simple search of aristocracy versus oligarchy. Differences right there. Very,
Wait, did AI pull that
very,
for you? No,
very
I'm kidding.
simple. Yeah, actually it did. Even AI knows there's a difference.
Okay.
Well,
Oligarchic characteristics. Research indicates that the top 10% of income earners wield the majority of power. with political outcomes favoring corporations and wealthy donors. This is often tied to the role of money in politics, campaign finance, and lobbying, which allows the super rich to shape legislation. Does
Yeah,
that not,
interestingly enough, when
does
big
that not,
pharma and big, sorry, go on. I apologize.
I was just saying, does that not sound like our country to a T?
Yeah, an oligarchy, not an aristocracy.
But we
Like you
do have,
said when at the beginning of that statement, oligarchic characteristics include. You were not reading a definition of aristocracy. You were reading out a
all right, fine,
list.
you win. I don't feel like
Yeah.
talking about this. Your
Yeah.
nitpicking is going to make me tear my ears out.
Well,
Continue, Chip.
If you tear your ears out, could we watch it? No, that wasn't.
oh,
uh,
I would not
you
want to.
know, when I worked, and again, this doesn't prove either side of the point, but when I worked for Big Oil and my wife worked for Big Pharma, every Octoberish, we would get an email. It would be kind of bland and not specific, but what it really meant was vote for this person because that's who you should vote for. And obviously in Texas, you're going to vote for the red candidate, not the blue candidate. And I thought that was fascinating that they literally would send out a communication that you can copy and paste and put on the internet saying, my companies are telling me who to vote for. So again, not to go into anything you were talking about, oligarchy, whatever, I find it fascinating that rich companies will tell you who to vote for, even though they have no rights to do that. But then you have to think, well, if they don't get what they want, are they going to fire 10% of us?
Not
So,
just no rights to do that. Isn't it like actively illegal for them to do that? To be like, hey, here's a voting guide. Nice and
so
helpful.
do
Or is
you
it just
like epilepsy Reddit or do you like the epilepsy universe? So let me tell you a little bit about epilepsy. They're gonna take away your rights to be able to post because you have some differing opinions. So you can kind of say, well, here in Texas, we feel as though the rights of the oil company are kind of in your best interest because they're really trying to make it so that we can't take oil out of northern slope Alaska so that you can, but if we do decide that we want to do something about this, then we know what we can do. Now, in that, I know I probably used red and blue a whole bunch of times in there, but in the statement that was made, it's very non-specific, but it's 100% specific as to what they're saying to you. So,
Hmm.
you know, take out whatever word you want to use and use whatever term you want to use. The rich rule the poor. And I believe that the quote or the statistic, and I'm wrong about this probably, is 5% of the world owns 95% of the wealth, and 95% of the world owns 5% of the wealth. That's kind of messed up, but if that's true, who are you going to put in positions of power? Obviously, the people who you know, not the people you don't know, definitely not the people who are best for the job. And I see that over and over again in corporate America, where because I was quiet and I was chill and I didn't make noise, it took me probably 4 times the amount of time to get the last promotion I got. Whereas the people who got promoted before me who were there around the same time, they were squeaky wheels who like to promote themselves and jump out and this is me, this is great. So yeah, being an asshole gets you ahead in life. And then you bump that up to the 5%, and being an asshole gets you ahead in life for all the people who work under you, the 95%. So it's just we're essentially feeding the engine that controls everything in the world. I don't care what governmental term we use for it, whether it's nepotistic or whatever, but the same people sit down in the same room and make all the decisions. And it was fascinating. And I'm probably off the rails again, but it's all good. It was fascinating because up here in the Seattle area, after after COVID ended, I love saying that. All the companies had to have gotten together. All of their CIOs had and CEOs had to have gotten together because all the companies fell in line. We want return to office 1 day a week. And we all had to return to the office 1 day a week. Now I'm not talking about Microsoft, Amazon, Nintendo. I'm talking about everybody. Then 5, 6, 7 months later, and it all happened in a short time period where everyone was given the return to work order. Then within a short period of time, we all got all of the companies, Starbucks, Microsoft, Nintendo, everybody got the notice that, well, 1 day is not enough. We don't like how you're not collaborating. So we want everybody in 3 days a week instead of 1 day a week. And all of that information, all the different companies published all that stuff all around the same time. So that is a ton of rich people getting together. Oh, Microsoft too. I don't think I mentioned them. That's a whole bunch of rich people getting together and deciding the fate, literally, of the country and possibly the world, if you think about it in broader terms, because all of those companies are not Seattle-based companies and they only do work in the state. They cross everywhere. And I'm sure most of them, if not all of them, are in China as well. So you have to believe that they're not going to come to me and be like, hey, Chip, man, what do you think's going to happen? Where do you want to bring this company? Do that. The best I could do is when our annual survey comes out, I could tell them what I honestly think. But it's a big collection of really rich people deciding the fate of all the people below them. I don't know what term that falls under, but that's what's going on in the world today, and it's atrocious. So, and I'm one of those stupid 95% people who ended up where I'm at because I had a family and I wanted to have a house and or what is it, the American dream? I think that's what it's called. But what I actually have is a wife who had cancer, me who has epilepsy, 3 kids who went through all of that stuff as they were growing up, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, mortgages on the house and all that stuff. Because for the last 2 years, I've been spending money like I actually have it on Uber, on Instacart, DoorDash deliveries. And then who profits from that? Who's the person who profits from that? Kroger, Costco, what other retailers are out there? Sam's Club, Walmart, I don't know, you can go all over the place. Do the shareholders get that stuff? Or do the rich people who own the company get it? Do the workers get that stuff? Or do the rich people get that stuff? And I'm almost positive I don't get any of that stuff. I look at a 30-year career, 32, 31-year career, and I've done a lot of good stuff. I've done a lot of interesting stuff. I've done a lot of great stuff. And this year, actually, 1 month before my first tonic-clonic, and I knew I had seizures, I got promoted to the first level where I'm actually seeing a difference in my income. And that took 30 years to get to. So it's kind of crazy. And I'm making this much money versus Elon, who fills up my entire development, my entire city, probably all of King County, which is the one that has Seattle in it. You know, that everyone's making nothing.
Well, he's gonna have like what, 30 kids to split that up between when he goes. So
Yeah, that's true. It's funny. My son and I hate Cybertrucks, so whenever we see one, we take a picture and send it to each other. But anyway, I talked way too long there.
no, it was all good info. It was, yeah. Um yeah,
Um,
I didn't get I didn't reach a decade at my company before I had been laid off. I never really understood that whole need for relentless self-promotion, and I kind of assumed that was for the business people, business majors, executives who want to climb the ladder. I'm a science guy, tech engineer. I'm doing the serious stuff that actually makes the company money and stuff. But no, even among other fellow engineers, there was a lot of like sociopaths who just throw you under the bus just so that they can stand on top of you as the bus is going over you. Um, yeah, it's brutal.
I had that happen to me. Had to be about 8, 9, 10 years ago, and we were in a huge meeting, and someone had messed something up pretty bad, and they were like, "Well, honestly, it's not our fault. It's actually Chip's fault because he didn't do his job right." Now, the first month I was in IT, my coworker told me the following: document everything. If someone comes up to you and asks you to do something, send them an email. As per your conversation, cube meeting, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to reboot this server. So that when they say, "Why did you reboot my server?" you could be like, "Man, it's right here. No problems at all." So I don't remember where I was going with that. But
Someone
so
throw you under the bus.
oh, someone threw me under the bus. So 30, 25 years later, they're like, "Here's the bus. We're going to drive over you." And I'm like, "Cool. You're trying to promote yourself because you're at a middle level engineer and you want to be a high level engineer. So you're going to throw me under the bus." Unfortunately, it's not going to work because I document everything. I'm smarter than you. So, it's just, I don't understand how people could be nasty and get promoted above other people. Like I said, I'm a mid-level, extremely high-level engineer. Uh, that makes a lot of sense, but there's different levels. But yeah, all these people, they all jumped over me. And had I not documented stuff, that dude definitely would have trashed me, and it would have slowed my career down, because in that room were a bunch of really high level people. Luckily, he's the one who got screwed, not me. But and funny enough, he moved like 3 streets over from me, and he doesn't work there anymore, and I see him once in a while. But yeah, that's corporate America. It makes no sense. But again, the rich people get rich, and even CEOs, CIOs, they're not really rich. They don't make up the 5%. the owners of the companies and the major shareholders, they're the people who make all the money. So, I'm just trying to eke out a living, not falling down at work. And it's hard, and I feel lucky because it's harder for so many more people than me. Just like epilepsy, you know, 15 years from now, I should be completely out of debt, hooray, I'll only be in my 70s then, so 60s, no, I'll still be in my 60s then. That's good news. And again, I plan on retiring in my early 70s because why not? I'm not going to have the money to live. The famous phrase that I've heard a million times by people who make angry comments about financial advisors is, and I've never gone to one, but they say you walk in there and the first question they ask is, well, how long do you want to live? Because they can't calculate anything without knowing how long you plan to live, so that they can divide out your finances, put you in to the capital gains that'll make the most sense, decide if you need to be in highly volatile areas or nice brain,
Low
nice
risk.
conservative stuff.
Yeah.
But once again, all of this rolls back around to the original statement of only a few people run the world, and they're the richest people, like Elon. So I don't even honestly think Trump is in the 5%. He might be, but he made and lost so much money over his life that I'd find it hard to believe that he was in the 5%. But I know
Yeah. How many
Gates and,
times has he declared bankruptcy, right?
oh, that's him.
That-
Yeah, he can't be in the 5% despite the fact that he's making rules. But I know that Mr. Gates and what's his name? I can't remember the Amazon guy,
Bezos.
Bezos. They're in the 5%. They're probably in the 1%. And my hope is that at least Bill Gates is going to be a good guy. I don't know about any of the other ones, but I'm hanging my hat on that dude because he's got a lot of money and
Bill
he's got a
Gates gave
lot of
away
charity.
half his money.
What's
Yeah.
up?
Bill
Oh yeah,
Gates gave away half his fortune. Yeah.
I was at a school thing the other day, and up on the wall were a whole bunch of contributors, and the number one contributor and that one that got the biggest plaque of anybody was the Bill Gates Foundation. So yeah, I hope others follow because I'm pretty sure to live a happy life, I definitely need about what, $5 billion, 6 million billion. I mean, who needs that kind of money, And what good could come of giving it out to everybody else? And the answer to that is none, because then inflation would go crazy and the rich people would still have 95% of the money. So go corporate America. I get way too bored at work, I think. But my stuff's all automated. So unlike everybody else, why would you want to work? Why don't you just make these computers work for you? And I'm not even talking about AI.
Right. Well, yeah. I was gonna say, be careful how automated you make your job there. You don't want to, yeah, I don't know.
When I'm done automating my job, I'm going to automate, which I am. But when I get the energy, I'm going to do it for the rest of the people in my group because it drives me crazy. I've been on this team for 10 years, and I'm like, why don't you guys do the right thing? But since they do a completely different thing than me, I'm like, man, I don't have the energy for this. So,
Mm.
yeah, it's interesting stuff. IT is fun. Corporate America sucks. But no AI was used in my automation, but I would pull scripts off of AI if I needed to, if I couldn't think of how to do stuff because my brain's too sad now. So
today I learned that there is an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to the wealth of Donald Trump, and my world has become a little bit worse for knowing that.
Hmm.
It's long.
I can't even imagine.
Oh my
Is it like
God.
show his products or something? And
Oh, I wonder if Trump wrote this himself because it is just going on and on and on and on. I mean,
Hey, Kevin,
it's
I sent a link to the chat.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's just,
And unfortunately, I have to go do things. But thank you again for having me on here. It's honestly, it's one of the most fun things I do during the week. Uh, you know, corporate America is no fun. I love my family. They're tons of fun. But this falls right underneath that, the second one of family. So yeah, I really appreciate it. I love what you guys do. It's so much fun because there's only so much garbage I can listen to and read that is garbage. So it's fun to hear real people talking about stuff that actually is interesting and fun. So uh, thank you.
Thanks.
And any
thank
last
you.
questions before I hop off this thing?
do have a question for you. Do you know of a guy? You, you live in Washington, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So you know a guy named Arjun Mavawala? Name sound familiar? Is he in the news?
You know, I'm gonna take a shot at this because I'm really bad with names. Is that the dude who left? I'm gonna say the leader of AI. I want to
No,
say
he was not.
for
He's not in AI. He was in
okay,
the
and
army. He left. He
then
was
I
an
don't know
army
who that is.
sergeant. Left the army, and
Okay,
he was at a protest. And then the FBI raided his house 2 weeks later. And so because he
I do.
protested, because he protested ICE, FBI raided him, and it's just
Yeah.
something very concerning.
Oh
What
yeah,
was
it's
what was the
horrible.
name? What was the name? Because
Bajun, first
okay,
name.
got it. Mavel. Okay, yeah.
The
Thank you.
second.
Yeah, veteran too. Man,
I had a
And
Yeah,
question for
that's
you, Fit, but I forgot.
sure. Excellent. I can answer that then.
Uh,
Funny
yeah.
enough, we didn't get to all the other AI topics. uh, but anyway, that's
it's
funny.
like they're generating more every day.
if you're going to talk more about AI, I'm just going to let AI answer the questions.
Oh
No,
no,
I'm
I'm done. I gotta go find out what is going on in this place today, which I'm hoping is nothing at all. I have those tacos made, so I don't have to even cook this morning. I don't have to cook tonight too if everybody eats garbage that isn't cooked. But tonight it'll be fried chicken and mashed potatoes, I think. Anyway, uh I know you guys need to know all this stuff, but
Hey,
yeah,
whatever you
hit
want to
me up with
offer.
any other hit me up with any other stuff that I could possibly give my brain-addled, crazy mind to answer. So,
We
and
will do.
one other thing, I think I said this yesterday, and I know this doesn't technically involve what we're talking about here. If you haven't yet, and this goes for everybody watching, not watching, I'll probably post something like this. It took me a year and 10 months, 8 months, I don't know how long it was, to find programs that actually would help me as a disabled person. And I live in a pretty open place where they want people to use services and stuff. But after about a year and a half, I probably found tons of stuff that I didn't know, including that wonderful disabled bus that takes me everywhere I want to go. So, yeah, anybody who's listening, call your government, local stuff, and see if there's anything they could do to help you, because that stupid bus, I often say it saved my life, and I know that that's the figure of speech and not true, but man, that thing saved my life. So, you know, I spend an hour, hour and a half on those buses instead of 6 or 7 hours going to work and back home. So, pro tip, find out what your area might have. Most likely nothing, but hopefully something. Or you can move to Washington State for that transportation and cheap pot. You know, I mean, how could you go wrong?
Or
And a pretty
in
kick-ass mountain.
California.
At
And the
least
mountains.
one, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. At least
Or
one.
or you can come to California. We got mountains, weed, and anything else you'd like.
Yeah.
What was the
Redwoods.
first one you said come for?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I was gonna say California's got that, but I forgot the
Oh,
first
for
one
the
you said.
transportation and the benefits and stuff. Well, you know, I used to live
Yeah,
in California. I lived in California for what, about 2 years, I think, after Oklahoma. So that was a culture change quite a bit. But yeah, I think I used to live near you. I worked. I did some work in, what was it, Richmond, and
oh yeah, I know where
then
that's at.
I had to cross the what is it, the Benicia Bridge to go up to Sacramento all the time. Uh,
Yeah,
I lived in a little town called Hercules, which was hilarious. I love that name. But
yeah, I know where that's at.
yeah, that's hilarious. I love it. But cool guys. You guys have a great day. And yeah, I'm always up for anything, and I'm always up to type a whole bunch of stuff too. So hey, look, it's a medicine alarm.
Oh,
Anyway, you guys have a
okay.
great day.
You
You
too.
too. Take
All
care,
right,
Chip.
bye guys.
Anybody still watching?
Fun stuff.
Press that thumbs up button. We got people watching, and they only got 2 likes. Come on, guys.
Uh-oh.
Any comments today?
Any questions?
I
Anybody?
mean, any
We have comments. One from Kevin. It said, "Can't also leave out what child with divorced parents, what the other parents are allowing them when they're not in your custody that day." Any questions? And then Kylie said, "I tried to join the Zoom. Why'd you kick me out?" This is not a Zoom for anyone else to join. This is the morning show. And then she said, "Bye, Chip."
But,
Jeff
yeah.
said, "Each time Mark says AI, I think of Allen Iverson."
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. So you guys like, subscribe, press the little thumbs up and all that stuff. And hope we see you guys on Wednesday.
are we done?
We'll wrap it
You
up.
got some more articles. I'm down to stay. People are more than down to watch. Come on. I sent some articles to chats and you guys never checked them. But yeah, got a
I
few.
did.
Oh,
I did read the Guardian one
oh,
about Canadians not wanting to come here.
Yeah.
This is a big
Canadians are
tourist
like,
here.
we'll pass on you coming here.
I've just
interesting.
since it's the 250th year of America, it's going to be it's supposed to be huge for tourists, and I don't have any projections, but I assume we're going to lose a lot of money. You know, people don't want to come here,
People
especially
coming in
Philadelphia.
other
You know,
places.
Is there
where the
Yeah.
normally tourism for our Independence Day?
well,
Like I
not
thought
normal
that,
Independence Days, but
but
Philadelphia is hosting several major sporting events, the FIFA soccer
Oh,
thing. Uh, so yeah, that would bring
yeah,
a lot of people from across the
yeah.
world. We've already lost 2,000 we've had 2,000 cancellations on that. How was that? Sorry, 2,000 ticket
Yeah,
cancellations.
FIFA's also coming to the area I'm from. They're going to the 49ers stadium. Yeah, so there's that. And yeah, that's going to be big, being that everybody's coming there. I forgot what it's something. It's coming there, though. But yeah, everybody is deciding, let's not go to America. And that's what's been happening lately. Uh, Heard that about it on a few borders, mostly um, northern states. Well, would that be eastern states, kind of? Yeah, eastern states. Yeah, what do you think if people decide not to come here and we just have no immigrants at all?
Well, then I guess Trump will have accomplished his mission as he sees it then, right? If we have nobody coming in,
No,
I don't
never
know.
mind. Makes sense.
It's
I mean,
it,
a little more
Companies are losing money
multifaceted.
as well.
Uh, and as far as tourism, that would be a huge blow.
mm,
Um, but everyone knows that the corporations do use um, immigrant labor. Most major corporations use immigrant labor in this country. Um, so we do need a certain amount of immigrants to keep prices low. Or I don't know, prices still seem to be high, um, but yeah, I am pro, keeping people out for the most part. It's yeah, just sensible restrictions. That's all.
Yeah,
I think
but
most people are for that.
sensible is where we get caught up because sensible means something different to every single person who hears it. So without laying out what one believes to be a sensible plan or layout or it's not really saying much of anything except the way that things are being done right now is not how you would have it, which I
All right,
don't.
well, let's just think of the way before. Okay, it was an open gate. Everyone said open gate. And now we have agents flooding the streets and arresting anybody. Can we just find a middle ground between that?
Well, I
Is
don't
there
think it
any
was ever just
compromise?
open gates. So yeah, that's just, I mean,
We
that only narrows the bound even more.
Well, it just seems like we live in a
Yeah,
country that can't
but
middle ground anything or
um,
compromise or find sensible legislation for anything.
I'm not arguing against you right here. I'm just trying to game it out with you, just to be clear. I don't want to come
Right.
across like
Well, what were you
so.
saying then?
So I mean, I don't think that it was ever just complete open gates like you had started out with. So that brings that band even closer together of um where this sensible um plan would lie, or where sensible is. Um
I don't know.
Oh, so I would
Let's
establish a
see.
set of rules, first
Yeah.
of all, to gain, you know, citizenship, obviously. I think that would be the most clear place to start,
Could
you know.
I suggest something like we did back in the early 90s where there was a fast track um to citizenship for the individuals who have already been in the country for a certain number of years. So the people who have proven that they want to come, they want to participate in the culture, they want to, um, you know, be American, right? Give them that. Um, but
Sure.
tighten down much harder on future border crossings,
Okay.
um, because like you said, an open gate is just I mean, a nation that doesn't enforce any border is not really a nation at all anymore. It's just going to be, I don't know. Um, so that's a major concern on my part is that, a a
Yeah.
not complete open, but a significant degree of freedom of individuals. But in my, I'm more concerned about possible materials coming back over, the drugs and any potential um, terror support that can come across. Um, um,
Mm.
yeah, I'm not worried about, you know, Central Southern Americans coming and wanting to live, right? At the end of the day, the bulk of the people just want to have a life, right?
All right. So we do background checks on these people trying to get into the country. By the way, there were people who there was a system for background checking people coming into the country, applying for citizenship or something like that. And they did get caught. There were some sort of terrorist association. This was a few years back. So those do work. I mean,
Yeah, but when we catch one that brings up a question, how many others had gone through and hadn't been caught, which is the concern I have and why I would argue that it needs to be ramped up quite a bit more from where it has been. Um, because especially now that we've been going and bombing Iran, the world's largest funder of, state-sponsored terror, um, I think it's perfectly sensible to, or perfectly plausible to have them funneling as much chaos as they can through that border. And they can't send a missile over, across the ocean. They can just, smuggle some stuff across. And um yeah.
I don't really see them doing a lot of damage. I mean, we always say this, we are pretty isolated, but they got a sneak attack with the 9/11 attacks, but and they always people are clever with attacks and stuff, but I don't. Yeah, keeping the border secure would be very important, but what about the other side? The current ICE and because ICE doesn't work the border.
Anymore?
They never did.
Oh, okay.
They worked
Yeah,
in
it was a,
cities.
created with the Patriot Act as a subset of the Department of Homeland Security. So it's a branch, or it's an arm of the executive branch. Um, yeah. It's Customs and Border Patrol, CPB, that enforces the border, does the checks and all that stuff. Um, ICE has always been inside the borders of the country looking for the bad guys. So that's why, with the Patriot Act, it was initially, that was their purview, hunting down the bad guys, not the groundskeepers and uh, children of, you know, innocent laborers and I don't want to, I'm stereotyping here already, but
You
just
know,
innocence, right? Um, yeah. Um, I don't
yeah.
know, but what would due process look like then when moving to apprehend the worst of the worst, as we call them, as the Obama administration called them when he clamped down on the same thing. Um, what
Well,
does what does
I would.
what I mean, if not um, armed officers going and apprehending
Well,
individuals?
I would imagine you can't just blanket arrest everyone. Just intelligence, uh, more intelligence than we've done before, because we're like the number is 5% of all the people arrested by ICE in the Trump administration are violent offenders.
Fine. Nonviolent offenders are criminals too,
Right. And I think we've had
and
this,
they
but
shouldn't we shouldn't be allowing them in here either. And just because
and
they're
that's
not
that's the
identified as
highly
violent
debatable
doesn't
part,
mean they aren't.
because a lot of those crimes are just small drug possession, traffic, you know, going through a red light. I don't
I
know, other
don't,
stuff.
no, traffic citations are not included in a criminal record.
Actually, crossing the border isn't a crime either. It's a misdemeanor.
A misdemeanor is a crime.
Right.
Yes.
But it's still, it's
No,
like
but
jaywalking.
not stopping at a stop sign, that's not even a misdemeanor. That's a traffic citation. That is not a crime. It is, you know, a traffic infraction, as they call it.
Fine.
It doesn't go on criminal records, is just my point. So, um, the nonviolent criminals wouldn't be included in that kind of stuff. It would have to be more, you know,
So
more along the
what
lines
are,
of reckless driving kind of stuff, which is,
how long is ICE going to be out there, do you think?
I mean,
Oh no.
until the Department of Homeland Security is dissolved, I don't think that there's ever going to be a United States of America without ICE?
You think they're the answer to the safety and everything? They're sure they're not just going with
Well,
and why are they all in inner cities and
Because the
I'm not
worst
sure,
of
but
the
I got an
worst
article.
violent offenders are not standing around in the middle of a field in Oklahoma or Kansas. They're
of course
where population
the heart of
centers
America?
collect.
No crimes happening there. Um,
I mean, what is your point, though?
no point. I'm not, I guess I'm saying that Trump is using ICE as an instrument to harass the cities. And I think the number of ICE
Do
agents will increase over the years.
do you disagree that the cities are where most violent criminals are to be found?
I don't know.
Well, let's
Yeah.
think about this for a second. How much of the United States population is congregated inside of major metropolitan areas? And if we look at that
I'll
percentage,
just say yes.
then
I'll
we
just say
can
yes.
infer that, yeah, so there. I mean, so this is what the enforcement would have to look like in some way or another.
All right. But still,
I would got, I got an
But
article
still
I'm gonna
what?
read.
you got an
Oh,
article?
still. Oh, okay. Yeah, it says lawyers for ICE gave false information to justify detaining thousands.
Hmm.
Filing, filing review. I mean reveal. It says revelation was included in lawsuit challenging practice of targeting people who seeking to gain legal status as they leave immigration courts. Lawyers for ICE provided false information to justify arresting and detaining thousands of people who had attended immigration courts, according to newly found court filed documents. Federal prosecutors said that lawyers for ICE acknowledged that an agency memo from May of last year gave no authorization for the arrest, court documents showed, despite previously citing it to justify the arrest. The revelation was included in filings the office of Jay Clinton, a U.S. federal attorney, and a lawsuit brought by the New York Civil Liberties Union and other civil rights groups, first reported by the New York Daily News. The lawsuit is challenging ICE's practice of targeting people seeking to gain legal status in the U.S. as they leave immigration courts. Agents have arrested thousands of people after they attended hearings, preventing them from further pursuing their cases. Yeah, um, yeah, people who are actually trying to get their papers is they're making it hard for them. Basically, what do you think about that?
A shitty thing to do.
I find them to be a concerning military presence in the country, increasing military presence.
Quick circle back though. I did a check on the percentage of the population distribution. So 80% of the United States population lives in only 3% of the total United States surface area. Um, so that's why ICE is concentrated in urban areas because that's just where the people are. 20%, the remaining 20% is scattered across 90% of the country. You're not going to get dramatic, you know, camera footage of ICE arrests out in the middle of nowhere.
or in national parks or, you know,
all the
mm,
farms.
Middle of nowhere. I
right.
believe I live in the middle of nowhere.
I guess
So, um, I wouldn't say that
are they
it's,
raiding farms and stuff? Because
huh?
are they? I don't know. Is ICE raiding farms? Because I know
I
farms
don't know.
heavily depend on immigrant workers.
Yeah, yeah. If anything, that's where the largest number of invisible workers would be, undocumented and not trying to make waves and stuff. Um,
It's almost as
Do
if he's trying to antagonize the cities and such.
Do you think they should be able to put ankle monitors on people?
yeah,
Which people?
People, just in general.
if
There's an
someone
article
is
here.
if someone
I
is
mean,
An article here.
in the process of, and is a risk of fleeing, and they need to make sure that they're not gonna just poof back over another border. Um, yeah,
isn't that what we want them to do?
huh?
Isn't that the whole idea? Immigrants, we want them to go back over the border.
Well, I'm just
The
saying
article
if they want
is
to keep tabs on them, if they want to keep them and put them through due process here in the United States, then you put an ankle monitor on them.
Well, there's currently,
Certainly more ethical than like microchipping them.
I
um,
suppose.
there's this article is here because these women were seeking asylum, five of them, and they were asked to, after their appointment, they were asked to wear ankle monitors. But this was by ICE, not by the people in the court. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
So rather than
Asylum from where?
it would be extremely easy to just disappear over to a different state and if they're not if they're trying to avoid going through all of this, that's why it doesn't make sense to post up outside of the court, clamping these on, or were they clamping them on the people coming out of the court?
Yeah. They're catching people coming out of courthouses.
What? No, I
So they,
mean, are they putting the ankle monitors on the people as part of their, coming out of the court, or is it like ICE going and clamping them onto people's ankles as they're
yeah.
leaving the court without the court's order to do so?
Yeah. It said ICE was doing it after they were leaving the asylum, trying to get their
The
paperwork and stuff.
asylum? What asylum?
Um, it said asylum. I'd have to go back to the article. It says,
Because that's different from the courthouse, which is what I thought I heard.
oh, it says an asylum seeking woman attended routine check ins with immigration authorities without issue. At her most recent appointment in October, she was unexpectedly ordered to strap on an ankle monitor.
Okay, so what?
That's messed up.
She just didn't expect it. What's the big deal? If she's going through the process, if she's doing everything right, and they ask her to put an ankle monitor on as part of that process, then why make waves? Just do it. And if you're going to be, you know, coming back like you're supposed to, then the ankle monitor won't show anything. It'll just be a waste of ICE's time. If anything, that should be a good thing in these people's minds, right? Waste as much ICE time and taxpayer dollars as they can, watching and rounding up innocent people. And
More of a waste.
I got something. This is says Australia urged to swap diesel for electric buses as fuel costs soar. Um, that's nice. Why didn't we do that? Like they have the picture of the buses they got. That's dope.
Because of the oligarchy. We're not going to do that.
Yeah,
Coming
this
back to
is
that.
under the
I know
climate crisis.
I'm gonna leave in a few minutes, but they're gonna we're not doing that. We're not the push for electric has been slow, very slow, and we're just
Most vehicles sold in the United States last year, I thought,
yeah.
model year 2025 were electric. I don't think it's slow. It's just a slowly maturing technology. You can't just jump straight to a fully developed and formed and final finished product. You gotta
Well, I would say it's both.
take steps to get there.
I think, yes, it's perfecting. It's a with yeah, it's a perfecting technology, but then again, I don't think um, we could have been doing this 30 years ago. Why weren't
No,
we?
we couldn't because battery technology did not exist at the level that was needed. Just one. That alone makes it impossible for this to have happened 30 years ago.
China's ahead of us too. They got 80% of their vehicles. 80% of vehicles on the street are electric. And
Yeah, well,
Australia,
they
100% of their buses.
strip mine their own, lithium right there, whereas we buy it from them. So, um, yeah, they're doing that at a massive environmental cost. So we could speed up, but it would cost something. There's no free lunch.
Well, I mean, ultimately going to need the air. It's going to cost a lot for electric batteries, but
Zero
air.
emission, 100% electric.
Well, net zero emission is not zero emission. The idea is you plant some trees and that makes a certain amount of CO2 okay to put out into the atmosphere. Net zero is just stupid.
It doesn't say net zero.
Oh, okay. Well, my bad. But a lot
It
of
says
times they
100%
do they
electric.
use these little terms that sound good, but then when you actually parse out what the phrase means in the context that they're using it, it's something that is entirely different from the image that they're trying to create in your mind. So, yeah.
I mean, phrases like farm to table or something. It's just, is it more for like selling or branding? I don't know. People go
Um,
crazy over that.
yeah, I don't know. Um, farm to table uh, never really factored into my life at all, except as like uh, I don't know. I thought it was like a joke on what was it? The Portlandia or something where the guy was like, "Is this local?" But is it local? Local. And the whole farm to table thing, I didn't realize until, yeah. Um, do you have any thoughts on that, actually, Kevin? Are
But
you farm to table positive, supporting, or is that
no,
just
no, I
an
was just kind of joking around. I mean, nothing is farm to table, really. I mean, many things can be, but it's very difficult to do so. I mean, like to
uh, so, okay,
I have no opinion on farm to table.
no opinion.
If you can do it,
If if in an ideal world it could be done perfectly, farm to table, would that be something you would be behind, or is it just not that important to you.
Nah,
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
important.
Okay.
That's what I mean by I think it's a branding thing,
Yeah.
for I think it sounds cool when they
Yeah. Like
yeah.
organic was back in the early aughts. Everything suddenly was organic, or certified organic on the side. And
Mm-hmm.
not everything that was certified organic was really even like n- natural. Well, not natural, but I don't know. Organic has a whole meaning in chemistry that doesn't necessarily have much to do with nice, wholesome farming practices.
Well,
So,
I have seen if I have a thing to compare it to is I have bought organic things and they do go they spoil faster. I mean, if that means anything. I mean, so that I would
I mean,
assume they have no pesticides or less pesticides.
yeah. Well, they might be picked at a different stage of ripeness if they weren't um, in order to keep the fruit looking nicer for longer or something. I don't know. And then then GMOs, like non-GMO products and everything.
Hmm.
Do you care if that strawberry that you're eating has a little bit of Arctic like pufferfish blowfish DNA in it?
Strawberry?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I
not
happen to have a
That's
not
because
strawberry
it's
here.
not good.
I just happen
maybe
to
not.
have everything.
There's yeah, there was a few years ago that they made a strawberry actually blue, like
No,
naturally, well, not naturally blue, but it
It had some.
ripened to actual blue on the plant
no.
itself because they injected some like pufferfish
Was
DNA
this
into
a
Um,
it.
was this a CRISPR thing or
Um, um, I don't,
um,
I don't know. I don't think so.
because it
Uh,
sounds like if they're combining DNA from another animal, it sounds like CRISPR.
yeah, I think it might be. Oh my gosh, Snopes.com is impossible to navigate like this.
you guys
Fa-
got any more
Oh,
articles?
hey, false. How about
Nah,
that?
it's not.
Frequently
Mark, you got any
accompanied
more
with the.
articles, or should we say goodbye to the people?
I think I'm running out of steam.
Yeah.
I have to admit right here that it looks like I was suckered in by that blue strawberry thing. It seems like it was a hoax, according to Snopes. Blue strawberries are not.
There was
Yeah.
something they were doing with
Wait,
white strawberries too.
wait. They're doing it. Wait. Okay. Images. They're doing
I think
it by
white
artificial
strawberries are
transfer
just
of genes from a species of fish called the Arctic flounder fish. It produces an antifreeze that allows it to protect itself in freezing waters. They isolated a gene that produces this antifreeze and introduced it to the strawberry. The result is a strawberry that looks blue and doesn't turn to mush or degrade after being placed in the freezer. They're not in production, but research is ongoing. Would you eat a blue strawberry with Arctic flounder DNA in it?
You did
sure.
make that sound good.
No.
I don't think so. There's no reason to. And regular strawberries
There's
are
what do
good.
you mean there's no reason to? Curiosity, scientific curiosity.
Mhm.
That is what more reason does anybody need to do anything?
I don't know. Just
I think
Just
that
the,
sort of
my
genetic
mind.
engineering and stuff is probably going to be very important in the future.
yeah,
I guess I'm down to try everything at least once, so I probably would.
yeah. Yeah, I try most anything at least twice, right? Just to see if that first time was a fluke too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of you guys know the webcomic XKCD?
Hmm.
Nah.
No, I did not.
There was one it showed it was like just stick figures and stuff, but it showed a man standing there. It said the difference between a scientist and a normal person. And there was a switch on the wall, and it said "Do not touch" or something. And in both of them, person flips the switch and get pow zapped by lightning. And the normal person, when they do that, they think, hmm, I guess I shouldn't do that anymore or something, or not do that anymore. It's the scientists, though, they think, I wonder if that happens every time. And he's reaching to go pull the switch again. Just, yeah, that's
Yeah.
me. I would pull the switch a second time just to be
Just to
sure.
see, just to try it out.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. You might discover something.
Maybe. Hmm.
You'll
That's
never
right.
know if you don't try.
An
Hey, I've
excellent
been
point.
told that
Yes.
before too. That's how they trap you into stuff. You'll never know if you don't try it. Yeah. Yeah, I've used that on my mom. And she was like,
All right.
if it doesn't smell good or feel good in my mouth, I don't want it. That's how she is.
Yeah.
And yeah, if she take your word for it one time and you and it doesn't go right, she's not gonna take your word for it again.
All right. I got to go.
All right.
All right.
We
Well,
ending the meeting?
goodbye to the people.
Kevin.
All right,
And
peoples, hit that like button and whatnot. So have a awesome day, everyone.
you too.